appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by the talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful south coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, news guy. Hello, Oregon. Hello, America and beyond. I want to thank you all for joining me today. We're going to have the rant, and of course, Marty's joining me. Samantha Frost is joining me. Marty, Sam, how you doing?
Oh, I was having a good time dancing to the
intro. Oh, there music. You go. That's okay.
I'm good.
That is good music to dance to. It's like, that's rage music. I like that.
Yeah, well, I picked it because there's no way we could get the license to Rage Against the Machine, but that was about as close as we could get. So.
Yeah, as soon as they see the format of the show, I'm sure they would have pulled out because it's not quite leftist enough.
We're going to charge you as much. Well, your show's only worth a nickel, so yeah,
right.
Send us a nickel, we'll be good.
Yep, that's about what they should charge, and I would pay the nickel. I would gladly pay the nickel. Sam, how you doing today? How's the weather in Roseburg?
It's hot. It's too hot. I know you guys are cooler, huh? You guys are down. What's the temperature up there or over there?
Yeah, it's 62 right here, right now.
Oh, it's 62. It's like 92, I think here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, it's pretty hot.
No, we'd be having a heat stroke. So, I was telling Marty that me and my wife, we're having a middle-age crisis, which is ridiculous because I'm way past middle-aged. But we're having a middle-age crisis, and we decided that we're going to go to a Social Distortion concert in Eugene on Monday.
Sorry.
That's
sorry.
All right.
I'll turn my photo. Okay, you were having a middle age crisis.
Yeah, so we're going to a concert. You know Social Distortion, don't you?
No.
Oh
Is that? I know. I'm Gen X.
Oh, okay. All right, that would explain it. He is a little bit older than I am, and they've been around a long time. I mean, they weren't really big until the mid '80s, late '80s, right, Marty?
Okay.
Yeah, it was a mid-late '80s kind of thing, but I mean, they were, had some really interesting songs. Aren't they the ones that did "I Only Wanted a Pepsi"? I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy. I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy.
God, I don't know.
All I wanted was a Pepsi. I said, Mom.
No. Yeah,
no,
the one I can always.
Drugs, Mom. I just wanted a Pepsi.
I just wanted a Pepsi. Well, they do that song "Drug Train," and it used to, back in the day, I used to think, "Wow, it's our song, Drug Train," because we get on it and you can never get off of it because of drugs. And thank goodness we eventually hit a stop. And at some point, though, I thought that was a great song because he had sobered up during the mid '80s. I can't think of the lead singer's name. Gosh, can't think of his name.
Have to look it up.
Now you're gonna have to look it up.
In Coos Bay?
Yeah, they're in Eugene. I don't know if they live here, but he's in Eugene. They're playing. I don't know where they're from, but
oh, that's
really
cool.
Good music.
When did they come? Or have they already?
Monday. They're coming Monday. I'm gonna go Monday night, and then I got to go to the fair all week long because I love to torture myself. That's
Yeah, so anyway, they were an American punk band formed in 1978 in Fullerton, California. Consisted of Mike Ness on vocals, Johnny Wickersham on guitar, Brent Harding on bass, and David Hidalgo Jr. on the drums.
Yep.
So there you
Yep.
go. But yeah.
So
Social
Marty, sing
distortion.
another one of their songs.
Well, I'm finding out. I'm finding out by reading through some of this is that they got their first single mainliner with Playpen on K Rock because of Rodney Bingenheimer. So there you
Playpen.
go.
There's one I haven't heard in years. Oh my God, you're taking me back, man.
Yeah, but I'm can't think of the exact name of the song. I just remember the lyrics where it was like he was complaining because his mom was thinking he was on drugs and he was like wasn't on drugs. He just wanted to get a Pepsi and you know, it's like she says, "Oh, you're crazy." And he's going, "I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy. I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy."
You got to find me that song now. That's
Yeah.
funny. You got to find me that. No, that was back in the day. Remember the Cramps? Remember the New
Oh,
York
yeah.
Dolls? The Buster Hyman and the Penetrators? You know, it was like they
That
had
one
a
I
whole
don't know
bunch
about,
of
but
those.
yeah, New York Dolls I remember. How about Black Flag? Black
Yeah,
Flag was
Black
great.
Flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
I
I
was
was
more like
living.
Green Day, you know.
Yeah, well, Green Day is like a pop band out of Berkeley that wants to pretend like they're punk. So,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, their whole claim to fame was is they played at Gilman 912 Gilman, which was the punk club in Berkeley, and that's where they kind of got their start. But if you listen to any of their stuff, they're certainly not punk.
They're pop
And
punk.
pop punk. And Billy Joel Armstrong has been popped for 3 DUIs, and
Yeah.
he lived in a
oh,
palatial mansion up in the Berkeley Hills. So
is that the
yeah,
head of?
that's super punk, baby.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
that
what
was
used to make me mad about Green Day is they all spoke with English accents, but they were like from America. And you're like, whoa,
Yeah,
dude, really?
that's weird. Were they
yeah,
trying to
because
be like the next Beatles?
I don't know what the hell they were doing.
yeah, I'm not
Huh.
really sure. I mean, I actually like some of their songs because they're catchy and they have some nice riffs and you know.
Yeah.
But this is not something you'd be like slam dancing in a mosh pit with. I mean, come on, no.
Let me ask you, Marty, because you're a music aficionado.
Yeah, that thing too. Yeah.
That thing too. Don't ever ask me to pronounce that again, and I certainly can't spell it.
Yeah. Let's
But
not pronounce it. Let's not pronounce or spell aficionado ever again. But
aficionado,
thank you very
because
much. Yes.
thank you. Yeah, and so I will. I want to know. I'm just curious what you think of my thought that the Kinks were one of the root bands for the punks. I mean, they came from the mods and they came from the punks, but they were really, if you
Yeah.
listen to the Kinks, a lot of that's punk music, man.
Well, some of their earlier stuff was. I mean,
Totally.
they went through a lot of changes over the years. I mean, there's a lot of bands like the Rolling Stones. You know, you hear them in the
Yeah.
'60s and it's one band. You hear them in the '70s, something completely different. In the '80s, once again, you know, changing to kind of do something different. And the same thing with the Kinks. I mean, I love the Kinks song Paranoia, you know, like
Yeah.
paranoia, self-destroy ya, dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
And
I know
There's
that
a
one.
man.
Okay.
There's a man under my bed. There's a
Hmm.
little
I
yellow
think I
man
know
in my
that
head.
one. I feel so left out being Gen X. I don't know any of these bands, but I think I know that
Wow.
song though. I think.
Well, it sort of helps that I worked in college radio. Well, didn't
Yeah.
work because I wasn't getting paid, but I was in college radio in the early '80s, and then I moved to Los Angeles, and I lived right next to Whiskey A Go Go and the Roxy, and I used to DJ at Filthy McNasty's club, and we had 4 live bands a night, and some of them were bands that hadn't quite been signed yet or had just gotten signed. So and then I worked at another bar called Stage East, which was right next to all the recording studios. And so all the studio musicians would come in and hang out at this bar. And I was running sound there, and I was always deathly afraid of the fact that these guys are hanging out with studio musicians and professional, studio engineers all day long. And I thought they'd just be riding me all the time, going, hey, you suck, learn how to run audio. And they're
Right.
like, nah, this guy is great. I love this guy. Buy him some drinks. And so I got to see like all the people you hear in music but you rarely see because they're the studio musicians that actually do all the music for the people that are doing your pop hits. So,
Yeah.
but
Those
it
are
was
the cool
bizarre.
guys. Because you don't,
Yeah,
like you
and it was
said, you don't
bizarre
know
'cause
their
we'd
name,
have
but you know their songs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want to see a documentary, I forget what it's about, but it was about the people that were the main studio musicians that did like the Beach Boys, oh, the Wrecking Crew.
Oh,
The Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and so they did like pretty much every major band in the 60s. They were their backup band, and they were the ones that kind of came up with, "Ooh, let's try this riff." And then the people would be like, "Yeah, let's go with that."
I've
So,
seen those movies actually, and I like them. So about the '60s bands and stuff.
Well,
yeah.
the
So
music I think is coming back. I see a lot. I see, boy, I just am not a rap fan. There's very few. Funky Cold Medina.
Yeah.
What's that? I like Bone Thugs and Harmony. Now those young
Ooh,
men
yeah.
are beautiful. They have some beautiful stuff. But most rap, I just can't stand. I don't like the music. I don't think it's singing. I don't think there's a lot of talent to it. My son is a little white kid and he wants to be a rapper. And so, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, I
Really?
just don't get it. And now I'm starting to see the younger kids are listening and playing music. They're actually got guitars out. And I love going
Yeah.
through Facebook because they've got all these kid bands who are out there playing the songs that me and Marty grew up with. And it's so
Oh,
cool. And
Yeah.
they're like, wow, listen to this new song. It's called Stairway to Heaven. I just wrote that.
yeah, I've noticed that too. In fact, the students are wearing. I know, I'm a little on the nerd side, but they're wearing the '90s clothes right now, and they're actually dancing to like '90s music. Students these days. So,
Oh,
hi,
Leon's joining us. Leon, how you doing, man?
hi, Leon.
Hi.
I've never met you before.
Hi.
So,
Can you hear me?
so, so Leon, we got into a discussion about bands, and I had to, Marty, he's a music aficionado, and
Or something like that.
or something like that. And
Yeah.
I posed the question to him, and I don't know how well you are into music, but we go back to way back when, to the 70s and maybe the late 60s. And I was posing the question because we were talking about punk, because I'm going to go see Social Distortion on Monday. And I was asking him the question, do you think Kink was some of the original punk inspiration came from like the Kinks, because they were the mods, they were the punks. What's your thought on music?
So Rob doesn't know this, but I'm going to spill the tea here. I used to be a professional musician. I was played for a number of years with the Oregon East Symphony, that's on the other side of the state.
Oh, wow.
But at one point, they put me on payroll for a brief time. And in the Northwest Musician, I was on payroll with them too. And I've been paid to do other things. And all of this comes from my stage management company and my DJ KJ company that I have closed down and just hung on to a bunch of equipment for.
Cool.
I know how
So-
that goes. I still have mixers and turntables that I'll probably never use again.
You know, it really kind of exploded when it with Blondie.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But I think what really got it was Elvis. Elvis, I think, is where it started, because everybody was doing the same thing up until the point where Elvis decided to shake his hips, and that was horrible as far as the
Not
parents
allowed.
were concerned. It was bad. It was utterly disgusting, and
evil.
that kind of kicked it into high gear there. And then you have the experimental guys like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin, who did some really weird stuff. And then Rush did some
Oh yeah.
some strange
One of my favorites. Rush is
Yeah.
one of my favorite. I've seen them a dozen times, and they're still one of my favorite bands. And I can't go see them because they're all nearly dead now. That's the sad thing about
Yeah.
music today.
Well, I thought the drummer finally did pass away.
He did.
I thought
Neil Peart.
I thought Neil Peart passed away, but
Yeah.
I mean, I was when I was in college, I was in just about everybody's cover band because I had a fairly large vocal range, and I could pretty much, I knew all the songs. And I was in this one band, and we were doing like Pat Travers and like Kansas, and all these other bands, and one of the songs they covered was a Rush song, and I'm like, that's one singer I cannot do.
Yeah.
I can do Bohemian Rhapsody, not a problem, but I
Geddy Lee
cannot
is-
sing Geddy Lee at all.
Yeah.
Unless somebody puts on unless I put on a pair of underwear that are like 8 sizes too small, then I can do Geddy Lee for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. And then at that point, I will just pass out from pain. But,
It's
I don't know Rush. I don't. Does anybody anybody tell me a song that Rush did?
Tom Sawyer with a working man.
yeah.
Fly by night away from here. Change my life again.
Okay,
my favorite.
I get
My
it.
favorite
Okay.
Rush song is "Free Will."
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It's a very, very liberty.
You can choose I can't remember how the line goes, but you can choose whatever you like, and that is called free will.
And to choose not to decide is still a choice.
it's
that's
still a
that's
choice, yeah.
the lines in that anthem. Anthem was a dedication to Ayn Rand, and was it the Fountainhead?
The Fountainhead.
Oh, do you want to get into that subject? Because I read both the Fountainhead and the Atlas Shrugged a couple of years
Oh,
ago.
God, we don't.
I'm about halfway through Atlas Shrugged at this point. Man, am I depressed.
Well, so
I like those movies.
they make sense if you read them together. They're harder to grasp if you don't read them together.
You're
Yeah.
right.
And I'd done the Fountainhead, and I was like, I got to go back and do Atlas Shrugged because there's something, and I started reading through Atlas Shrugged and Dagny Taggart, and I was just like, oh man. I mean, there are so many parallels to what's going on nowadays that I'm just like, oh, this is just making me more depressed.
I've never been a big fiction fan. I like nonfiction. I love the virtue of selfishness, the philosophy of objectivism. Gosh, I forget many different books that she had written.
She didn't write any fiction. She wrote what was happening, just like Orson Welles wrote 1984, and those things were happening as they wrote them. They weren't happening because they were coming up with something. It was literally, this is what's happening, and you guys aren't paying attention. I'm going to write about this. And
That's a good point. That's a damn good point, Leon.
And we say that, okay. So at the beginning of the month, my kid's doing a church activity day thing, and my mom and I are involved with it. I just did a bicycle review yesterday or 2 days ago for the same group of kids. But we did. My mom, I helped my mom with this. She did all the research. All I did was a presentation, a PowerPoint type thing. We started looking at the dates when the nation was founded, and over the course of about the big stuff started in 1754. We don't talk about anything except 1776. But the battles of Lexington and Concord happened in 1774. 2 years before we're talking about them, right?
Right.
Paul Revere's Ride, 1774. So we're talking about that, and then we started going, okay, what were they actually doing? And it occurred to me today that we could most easily be described as a red flag operation. They were literally going to Concord to disarm the populace under a red flag.
Very, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
And here we've gone and turned around, and how many states have red flag laws? There's one with a yellow gun.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't they? Boy, did I? Let me think back. I can't remember if they passed a federal red flag law. Is there a federal red flag law?
There is not, but they've tried it.
I thought they have tried it. Okay, all right. I knew that there is something.
It was something that Sheila Jackson was throwing out every single term, every single session, so that all the other gun control stuff would look sane.
You're right.
He would do all the crazy stuff so that everybody else's looked okay, and then they would work with passing.
Let's throw out all these hand grenades so that or have somebody running around chuckling like an idiot so that we can pass all these other really bad things with the distraction being put on by that other person. Oh, and Leon, if you could turn your mic up a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, just a little.
low.
I've got it on auto. Let me see what I can do.
And you might be able
Yes.
to do it through the program.
Because you're actually starting to sound like you work for NPR. So
Of
this
course.
afternoon,
Well, I did have a radio DJ thing going on for a while.
yeah. But this afternoon, we're going to talk about muffins and how they make you racist. This is NPR.
Yeah, no. My favorite was Saturday Night Live, sweaty balls.
Buddy Wells.
Can I try your
Yeah.
sweaty balls?
Betty, I just love your muffins.
I just love your muffins. So I had to start the rant out tonight with my favorite organizations, the NPR and PBS, because I just love Elmo. Tickle me, Elmo. It's all, we grew up with this stuff. I mean, it started. In fact, the year I was born, 1966, PBS started, and they've been funded by the federal government for a long time. And this is something I've been looking forward to for all my life, to get rid of these people, because I've known how bad NPR and PBS is, because I think I've had 2 hit pieces done on me by NPR. I know Danessa has had a piece hit on her. And Marty, I don't know if you remember the meeting we went to with that NPR reporter sitting right next to us and the commissioners. We were in the bar and the commissioners were having a meeting. You remember that? And the
In a
NPR
bar?
reporter?
No,
Yeah,
I don't
the
remember
meeting
the-
was in a bar. They were having a town hall meeting, and it was in a bar. It was only in Coos County, right?
Yeah.
And so the
Wow.
NPR reporter was doing the story because on voter intimidation, because they thought we were intimidating our county clerk and stuff. And that was when the county clerk was saying, she was scared, she was afraid,
Yeah.
and so they did a hit piece on us, but that wasn't the first one. I've been on NPR, the radio show, as well. And when I was doing the Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance and then the Second Amendment Sanctuary Ordinance, I was on NPR, and I mean, it was a full blown, it was
Yeah.
quite something. And I'm so glad they're finally defunded, because no one's funding me.
Well,
Yeah.
they're not. Well, I don't know how much they were getting, but the only real problem I have with NPR is that they kind of are behind the times on things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I was listening, so my mom got me on KLCC for a while, and I was listening to that, and I discovered that I could listen to the radio with my new helmet Bluetooth system. It has a radio in it. Who knew, right? Okay.
No, okay.
So I'm listening to it one day, and off they go talking about stuff, and they quote this study that's been proven to be debunked over and over and over again, like it came out yesterday. And it's like a 5-year-old study at this point. It's that one that says that more children are killed by guns than by car crashes, and include the 19 to 25-year-olds in it,
Yeah.
which aren't children anymore. 18
Yeah.
to 25 is not your children are below 18, under 18, because once they reach the age of 18, we call them adults then, and they're expected to
Right.
not
Well,
do stupid stuff to find out.
Too.
What was that?
I said, if that's the case, I'm a child too.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a child of 64. Yeah.
Yeah.
I identify as a 12-year-old pirate princess. So
There you go.
There you go. Will you still need
The ears kind of give it away. The
When
ears.
I-
give
I
it
know.
away.
I was gonna comment about the ears. I
Oh.
was like,
I
wish
I
had.
left them off. Let me see if I can.
Oh, do they light up too?
Yeah, they light up. This is the Bluetooth. See, I plugged them in, but they're not doing it.
That's cool.
Oh,
I
man.
like those actually.
Oh, and
I
a
want
quick update. It wasn't social distortion that did institutionalized. It was suicidal tendencies.
Suicidal tendencies. There's another
That-
one.
That was the song I was singing. It was called Institutionalized. It's like, but yeah, Social D's big hit for me was Story of My Life. That's
Mangione
the
needs to
story
have-
of my life.
Yeah.
Actually, Chuck Mangione doesn't need to come back. He never left.
There you go.
Very true. But
by the way,
NPR. So I was so
I was gonna
thrilled
ask-
because NPR and PBS got shit canned. I mean, it was just You know what I mean? The Republicans I'm never happy with, and I finally was a little happy about this. I mean,
They'll just have another telethon. It's fine. They'll survive.
they'll survive.
Well, and the weird thing was, is the CEO for Corporation for Public Broadcasting was, giving her testimony, and she's going, and I don't know why this is a big deal, because federal funding is only about 2% of our, of our revenue. And now she's crying about the fact that, what are we going to do that we've been cut off from federal funding? I'm going, if you can't make up 2%, you got some bigger problems. I was sparring with somebody from Iowa Public Broadcasting earlier today, and they were like going, oh, the Republicans, blah, 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 this, and how dare they cut us off? And I'm going, and it's like, oh, where are they going to go for emergencies and weather reporting? I'm going, I worked in broadcasting for a lot of years, and I know when I lived in the Midwest and we were in farm communities, PBS was the last place we went to get that kind of information, because we had stations that had Doppler radar and had like all this stuff, and they were farmers and they would tell you about stuff. Meanwhile, on PBS or NPR, it was like they were just rebroadcasting the national feed, and occasionally they would have like a little chat show about some sort of political bent that it was their thing for the day. But it was all national programming. So where are you going to get your emergency broadcast? Not from those guys. So, and then when she was saying 2% of our 2% of our revenue is federal, and I'm like, well, if 2% of your revenue is federal and you can't make up that 2%, then that means that you're not as indispensable as you'd like to think you are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Is that Leon? I got to ask you: is that background real?
No.
Okay. Because I was going to say that's really cool. That's really cool.
I've got a green string up. This is one of the stock photos for.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed the green screen kind of drops out behind you every now and then, so it's like, like over
there it
behind
is.
your
Okay.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do have it set up far enough back so that my contact.
This is a former bed sheet I painted in college, so that's not a green screen.
So
I've seen it before.
I had to hit a few of Trump things tonight because I'm still upset with him about this whole Epstein thing. I'm still that whole shit that he's been pulling on us. But there was something that I did enjoy out of the Trump administration today, and let me see if I can share that.
I'm going to make you feel better, Rob, in a little bit.
Okay. Trump's admin proposes major change to gun laws. And what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to stop or allow people who have lost their gun rights to get their gun rights back. And Leon, you're a libertarian. I'm a libertarian, very much so. And I'm one of those, I believe once you go to jail, you pay your dues, you're punished, and you get out of jail. I think all your rights should be restored. And for some reason, we don't do that for guns, and I'm just not sure why that is.
Well, the reason that is simple. If they don't let you have your guns back, they can do whatever they want to you.
Wow, there's a concept. You mean if I'm an unarmed person, an armed person actually has an advantage over me? What a concept. But
I have this saying. That's going to blow your mind. If everyone's armed, it doesn't matter who's armed.
Right.
So if you are armed, then it doesn't matter if the guy that you don't like is armed or not. If the guy that you don't like is armed and you're not armed, you got a problem.
Yeah.
So, that's just kind of the way it is.
Well, that's kind of the way I thought the Second Amendment, and I know that's the way the Second Amendment was supposed to be, that people were allowed to concealed carry. It's no infringement. There should be no gun regulations as far as federal and state regulations. And the problem is that, now we have all these regulations. Nobody knows what's real and what's not real when it comes to our gun rights, except for those of us who understand the Second Amendment. But it was meant so that people could walk around either open carry or concealed carry, so that everyone knew that this was an armed society, and you had to be polite in armed societies because you don't know who's got a gun, who doesn't have a gun. The 13-year-old down the street, he might have a gun. You know what I mean? People get killed all the time by this stuff. So,
Well, yeah, this is. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler. It's really easy to figure out who has a gun if you just assume that everybody has a gun. So one of the back in the day when I was actually looking at this kind of stuff, this is 30 years ago, the law enforcement community that had the most deaths was not the law enforcement community you would expect to have the most deaths. It was the city guys and the ones that were interacting with people that they were assuming were unarmed all the time. The ones that had the least amount of deaths were actually the forest rangers. They just assumed everybody was armed. They knew everybody was armed. They took that for granted, that everybody was armed. Everybody out there in the world is armed. Treat them all with you. If you treat them all kindly, then you don't have to worry about getting shot at by them because, go figure, people like respect. So, that's, I don't know if that's changed in the last 25, 30 years, but when I was paying attention to it, this is the days when DARE existed, and I was being groomed as a 16-year-old by the law enforcement community in Pendleton where I existed.
So
16-year-old handling MP5s was a cool thing, and because they had a SWAT team there and all that wonderful stuff. They were trying to get me to stay clean so that they could recruit me as I turned old enough. But everything changes. So I don't know if it's
I'm too old for the DARE programs. They didn't have DARE when they had Truth or Dare. That's what we had in our school.
Well, they had a mentor program where they'd take high schoolers into the elementary schools, and I was in that program. So they never liked what I had to say. But
cool. I bet. I can only imagine, Leon, that they were a little upset with anyone who, liked
it didn't stay when the DARE officer was drinking and rolled his own ATV on top of himself.
And that's usually the case. I forget the DARE officer who this wasn't too long ago. He was demonstrating gun safety and discharged his gun. And there was a video of this even in the classroom, and it was so funny. Here's the officer doing the training, and he shoots off his gun.
I remember that one. That was. Oh, I meant to do that.
Yeah.
I do like. I see this comment here with Jeff Peaty that says criminals going to be armed regardless of laws, and I'm going to point out that my 9-year-old is, according to the state, should be a felon because they made a law that he can't fulfill with his gun because he's under the age of 18. He's 9 years old, and he was like 6 or 7 when they passed the law. So I'm not going to say which one it was, but he can't follow through with that because he can't follow through with that. He's considered to be a criminal. Yeah, that's the way the state has decided to make it.
We're gonna talk more about that too later on. I've got some Governor Kotek to talk about because that's we got some problems in Oregon.
So many things to talk about.
So many things.
If y'all had just voted third party, and we wouldn't be talking about that. I would have vetoed all the crap that went across my desk.
Oh, by the way, so that everyone knows, you got off telling us your rock and roll era exploits, and I forgot to let everyone know. Leon actually ran for governor against Christine Drazen. Was it? Yeah, it was Christine Drazen and who was that other chick? Tina Kotek. Yeah, she became governor, and that's when Donna Smith ran, I believe. And you were
5 of us on the ballot. I'm the only one who would wear anything that looked like a skirt because I wear kilts.
There you go.
And I have it in writing. We claimed that we actually used the skirt thing as a way to get the Oregonian to admit something. We hit them really hard, saying that they were just being discriminatory because I kind of looked like a cross-dresser with my kilt. And they said, no, the reason we didn't invite Mr. Nobel to the gubernatorial debates was because he had not spent $1 million in ad revenue with our sister company that places ad revenue for politicians. I have that in writing.
Wow.
For who? Ad revenue for who?
Yeah, for politicians, political ads.
Oh,
They have a sister company that places political ads, and I did not spend $1 million on political ads specifically with their sister company. So it's not when somebody says we have a campaign finance problem. No, what we have is a media that believes that they, by requiring you to spend money on politics. If they weren't allowed to do political ads like that, then we wouldn't have spent $20 million a piece. I only spent $600 or $700. I didn't spend very much. I didn't fundraise. I didn't do anything. I decided that was not where I need to spend my time.
Well, you came on my show and I voted for you, so that worked.
Appreciate that. You and like 6,000 others.
Yeah.
I'm still getting death threats for my 6,000 votes. Just so you're aware.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. There is no way I could vote for Christine Dresden.
Every last one of them has been a Republican. That's been the most hilarious part to me. Every last one of them has been some sort of right-wing something. And they get really mad at me when I say defund the police. And they don't understand that the reason you need to defund the police is because those are the guys coming after your guns.
That's radical. Yeah. Wow, defund the police.
Pull you over, arrest you for having an unserialized firearm, and then you're going to go and thank them for their service. No. Call them a road pirate. Tell them to get bent.
That's, and I growing up in the 80s and growing up in the 70s, that was the attitude, because there were a lot of bad cops out there. And I know before anyone starts defending the police, I know there were a lot of bad cops because we used to trade with the bad cops. And, I won't go into what we were trading, but the bad cops supplied us with a lot of good stuff. And, there were a lot of really, really bad cops who were doing a lot of bad. In fact, I had a friend who quit from being a cop because he finally grew a conscience and said that he got tired of arresting people for doing things that he's doing worse than the things that he's arresting people for. And that to me was the signal that we've got problems. And, when I left Albuquerque, when I left New Mexico, one of the big incidences that happened in Los Lunas, the little town that I lived by, was that the sheriff deputies had a shootout with the Los Lunas, or no, it was a Berlin police department in a bar over territories. And that should tell you how corrupt some cops can get. I had a sheriff, the last campaign I worked on was to get rid of a bad sheriff who was a Democrat sheriff who was using the illegal status of young girls to force them into prostitution, and had a lot of drugs missing, a lot of guns missing from his evidence room, and nobody would investigate this guy. So we worked on a campaign, and in a Democrat county, we were able to get rid of a Democrat and actually put a Republican in, who then turned out to be not any much better. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Leon. I don't think that the problem is so much that we have bad cops, is that we give too much damn authority. That's the problem.
Well, they don't have any authority if you don't give them any authority. So the Battle of Athens, Tennessee,
Athens,
Tennessee is a perfect example. I mean, that right there is the entire plot line for the Dukes of Hazzard. Just going to tell you right now. I got to point this out, though. Jeff Petey comes back after I said something about my 9-year-old. No 9-year-old should have access to a firearm or decide their gender. Are you a bleeping fool? Actually, no, I'm not. Because if I arm my kid, I don't have to worry about whether or not he can get the pedophile into the wood chipper. He's armed. If everyone's armed, doesn't matter who's armed. He's armed. He's trained. He's probably a better shot than you.
Jeff, I kind of got to push back because at 9 years old, we had a shotgun sitting right there in the corner. I had BB guns. We had 22s. We grew up with all that stuff around us. And you know how many of us kids died? 0.
I was
I know,
doing
'cause we were
firearms
all
training
trained.
as a kid. I was plinking cans and learning how to shoot guns when I was a kid. Everybody at my high school had a gun rack in the back of their pickup. How many
Mhm.
people died? Zero.
Yeah,
Zero.
The most
Yeah.
the
we
way
have
most of us got injured were either in single vehicle car accidents, meaning you got drunk and drove off the road,
Yeah.
or like snowmobile accidents, like going too fast through a field and finding out after the fact that yeah, there was a fence there.
But I
You
do
know,
have to say
oops.
I agree with him on the gender thing. I don't think I don't have a problem with allowing your kid access to a gun as long as you're teaching that kid the responsibility that comes with that. But I do not think a child should be able to decide their gender. And this is something where I differ from a lot of libertarians who believe that children under 18 should have the authority, the autonomy to decide their own sexuality before that. And I was just wondering where you stand on that one, Leon.
so I believe that any kid that wants to talk, if any boy that wants to say he's a girl can say he's a girl. What I don't believe is that he should go get surgery or be put on blockers or anything like that. And that is the libertarian stance. Go ahead, call yourself what you want, but don't do anything about it until you're old enough to, number one, to accept the responsibility yourself, and two, pay for it yourself, because that's what an adult does. So if you're saying, oh, a kid needs to be able to decide their gender and they're 6 years old, well, the only reason they're deciding that the little boy is deciding they're a girl is because they see that their sister is getting all sorts of special treatment and they
Yeah.
want to special treatment too. It's not about being gendered. It's about the attention that they're getting and the way that the attention is being presented.
Or they're being groomed, or they're being, it's like there was the assistant druggist in town that was constantly trying to fondle me, and it was like, it's one of those things where maybe a couple of candy bars away from being groomed into a
Right.
gay boy,
See,
whatever.
And that's why you should have been armed as a kid, Marty, because then you
That's
had a way
right. I agree with that. See, but okay, I'm going to
chipper, Mr. Pito. We're not having a conversation anymore.
Yeah, right.
So Leon, I got to throw this back at you though, because I was talking to my wife with this, and we're against we're against sexual mutilation of children. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, we give boys in this country circumcisions. Isn't that genital mutilation? Because I've got friends who are upset because they don't have their foreskin anymore, and I keep telling them it doesn't make it bigger. You do know that, and they're still upset because they're missing that foreskin. I myself, I like the aerodynamics of circumcision. So it's wherever you're at with that.
Okay, let me let's take a second here.
Samantha, please. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Well, I did have a friend that I was in the military. I served with him, and he would rant and rave every day, all day about his circumcision. And I'm just like, what is the big deal? Like, I never even realized the big deal. But then once you like start thinking about it, that happens to you before you even get to choose yourself, right? Like,
right.
I mean, I don't have that utensil, but I'm just saying that, if you guys had a choice, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like this about it because,
Well, this is how I came up. You know how in America we don't have that ritual situation where we bring children into adulthood. Well, I was thinking, let's make circumcisions illegal and force 18-year-old men to get circumcised to be part of the American community. That would butch these guys up real damn quick. I don't know. Just a thought there.
Put none of your business is comment up there.
I know, that's aerodynamics.
Okay, so here's where the issue is. What they've discovered now with so many people who don't get circumcisions is that there's a lot of nerve endings in the foreskin, and they believe that those who this is the thing that I've noticed through lots of people telling me all of their problems. All of those nerve endings mean that they don't they have a little less time involved with whatever event that they're doing, because they have more nerve endings. So that it used to be a joke.
So hold on. So you're saying
Wait a minute, he had a joke. And it was,
I'm saying that the issue is that they believe that they've lost something because the nerve endings in the foreskin are gone. There is a joke. There is a joke.
So, instead of premature ejaculation after 30 seconds, you could have lasted for 15 seconds if you still
no,
had your
it's
foreskin.
the other way around. If you still have your
okay.
foreskin, you usually have less time than if you don't. Yeah. There's a joke. The joke. I'm trying to remember it here. I'm going to butcher this thing. Guy gets on a plane. He's sitting down, and this woman gets on the plane and just starts babbling at him, and talking about everything under the sun. And she said, "Stop." She stops and says, "I'm so sorry. I'm going to my lots of information. I'm going to a convention." And then she starts rattling off these things. Did you know that it's black men aren't actually the ones that have the largest phallus? It's actually Native Americans that have the largest phallus on average, and the best lovers tend to be Jews. And I'm really sorry. And let me tell you, my name is, and he introduces himself, Tonto Goldstein.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was going to butcher that.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. We took a long way for that. I'm so sorry. That's okay.
Let me do a quick one then, because it was like, so there was saw in one of those Guy Meets Gals columns in the paper. It was like, habitual premature ejaculator looking for a good woman must be fairly tall, big breasts, and nice. Never mind.
So,
ow, that hurt.
So the one thing though that a lot. Okay, so in my particular case, circumcision is the thing that my family did because of religious reasons. They have this, the reason now. The reason used to be everybody needed to get this because it would prevent disease. They've proven that to be false. That is not true. Not been the truth. It's for 50 years. It just took a while for us to go, oh, yeah, we shouldn't do this. So yeah, it's just at this point it's people sticking to tradition. My first kid is circumcised. I'm circumcised. My last kid is not. So, but there's also like 15, 16, 17 years between those two kids too. So
yeah. And that's what's happening with the generation, is they're not doing it as much, as from what I understand.
Well, I mean, there's just no longer money in being
no longer medically necessary, and as a result, there are very few primary care providers, pediatricians, who will do it. And there was only one guy, and you can't get it done and handled with insurance anymore because it's not medically necessary. So you have to pay for it out of pocket. And that was okay. Well, this is not that important.
Yeah, but I was going to say, it's like, and plus the fact that you just can't make a lot of money as a mohel anymore because you're only working for tips.
No. Right. Oh, well, tips aren't taxed now, so that's okay. Tips aren't taxed now.
No tax on tips. Oh,
no tax on tips.
Okay.
I'm going to point out that
I'm not sure what Jeff means by this comment. It says 50 years that wasn't AIDS.
It's just not realizing that the HIV and AIDS has happened in the 60s and 70s too. It is older than 50 years old. They
didn't have diagnosis for it, right? They didn't know what it was. They didn't know it had to do with the immunity. Yeah, it's been around much longer than what people have thought. Yes.
Yeah, we had a huge epidemic of it in the 80s, but it had nothing to do with cleanliness. That had everything to do with body fluid.
Right.
Swapping.
Well,
right.
There
it's
is
still
a certain aspect of cleanliness to it, but yeah, it has nothing to do with whether you're circumcised or not, because I mean, my two gay neighbors when I lived in West Hollywood, they had vanity plates that said M Uncut and M Uncut 2. And I'm like, okay, that's just a
Oh
little bit
wow,
over the top.
that's too much.
I mean,
Well,
well,
just
I mean, when
where
I
was
first
that at?
moved into, yeah, when I first moved into that neighborhood, and my roommate was like, "Oh, by the way, you're moving into a gay neighborhood," and I'm like, "I don't got a problem with a gay neighborhood. I'm fine with that." And and then the next morning I woke up, walked down to Santa Monica Boulevard, and it was like completely packed. All the way up and down the street. There were floats going up and down the street. There's dykes on bikes. There was guys in banana thongs dancing to YMCA
Were
on
you
floats.
were you living on Castro?
No, no, no. This was in Los Angeles in West Hollywood, which is the
Oh,
LA
okay.
equivalent of the
You know,
Castro.
Oh, I see.
Portland,
And I,
Portland calls that Saturday night. That's
yeah, and then
yeah.
so I walk back up to my apartment. I go, Phil, I know I'm supposed to be open minded and all, but is this shit gonna happen every weekend? He's going,
Every weekend.
oh no, no, sorry, it's the Gay Pride Parade. It only happens. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm like,
Once
Well,
a year.
because it was just
It only happens on days. Wow.
So I got to ask you guys this, totally off the circumcision discussion, because I don't know how the hell we
Please,
got
let's-
onto that.
let's
That
get
was
away from
really
that.
weird. And I'm sure the audience is going, what the hell's the matter with this
Yeah.
panel? But I got to get back to the federal news we were talking about, where I don't know how we got into this. But Tulsi Gabbard claims Obama officials manufactured intelligence of the 2016 Russian election interference. And I got news for you. Russia interfered with the election, but Russia has been interfering with our elections going back to when we started being a country. And we as Americans, the American government, has been interfering with everyone else's elections. So this was never a surprise to me.
Got
But
easier. It just got easier. We have open internet and social media, and it just got easier. Why would anybody be surprised? It got easier to find information. It got easier to mess with information. I
Yep.
mean, you can go in and edit Wikipedia and make a page for that is completely bogus, and it'll stay up there for maybe a week before somebody says, "Oh, this isn't real," and takes it down. So there is a way to mess with everything, because we're no longer just one nation. It's now a globalized world and a globalized economy. Everything is connected to each other. The idea that manufacturing intelligence, you don't have to manufacture intelligence. They just have to, the other side just has to delete stuff before to cover their tracks.
right.
So Tulsi Gabbard can claim whatever she wants. Until I see receipts, I'm not believing it.
Right, and I agree
And-
with you, but I do think, but there was interference. I mean, you're not saying there wasn't interference. I'm just saying, who cares? Because we knew.
Who cares?
Yeah.
We knew it.
I'm more
once-
concerned about Epstein files than I am this.
Oh yeah. Once I see the receipts, though, I'm going to tell you that particular, whichever government agency produced those receipts has too much power.
You
Was
seem
it
to
me
be
or
cutting
was it
out every
you?
now and then. So
Yeah,
I
you
know.
cut out on that one.
Cut out.
yeah, but basically, what I think about what Gabbard was basically saying, and this is how I interpret it anyway. But essentially, she was pointing out, and now has all the proof that it was Obama and and all these other people that were essentially spying on the Trump campaign and spying on Trump and making up the Steele dossier and making it look like there was Russian collusion and oh yes, there was
Russia,
Russians. And it was like, well, but now she's actually coming out and releasing intelligence that says, yes, there was a vast conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2016 election, and Obama was subverting the will of the American public and subverting the Trump administration and so forth and so on. So, it's not just Russian collusion, because that was the thing that that they kept trotting out because
Right.
they thought they could get away with it, and well, no, they didn't. But it's
But
taken a while to get
I'm
around
not
to it.
surprised. I figured, I assumed Obama and everyone mentioned in this, they were assumed to be the players back then. I just know how corrupt all of them are, so I just figured well, yeah, they're doing it. Sure, why not? And I'm sure the Republicans return the favor some way down the road, because you look at our own party here in our state and look how devious those bastards are in our own party here in Oregon, you know?
Oh, and it's
True.
horrible. And it's not one party. It's all of it.
Mhm.
All of it. I mean, they ran Biden and then swapped in Harris when they couldn't cover it up anymore. The Republicans have done the same garbage where they've picked on, taken a guy who everybody thinks is great, and it turns out he's
Do you freeze again?
out. Oh, we haven't.
You're talking about Trump and you're freezing, man. I'm worried now.
Yeah,
Actually, I wasn't talking about Trump. I was talking about your buddy over there at Coos Bay.
Oh, DBS.
DBS, yeah.
So
So
are we talking about DBS or are we talking about Dick?
Dick Anderson.
Yeah,
He
no,
needs
going
to-
from
Dick needs to be circumcised. Yes.
yeah,
They
going
need to
from
take that
foreskins
skin
to
off his
Dick.
head.
Yeah,
That's
we're
where I
just
thought
staying
Marty
in
was
the
going. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
No,
Like,
I was
ouch.
talking Dick Anderson, but I'm like going, yeah, we go from foreskins to Dick, and it's like not that much of a jump. So here we go.
No. But see, and I'm pro circumcision when it comes to Dick Anderson. I think he
Yeah,
should
I
be
know.
circumcised from the head up.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry,
But, yeah.
Leon. Go ahead. I
And
apologize.
we are such fans of DBS as you all know. So
I caught Dennis Linthicum and David Gomberg blaming the other party for the same thing that failed. The same thing. They both were saying we wanted this thing, and it failed because of the other party. It was literally the same, like this same bill. I don't remember which bill it was. I mean, and that's when I'm like, oh, they're literally playing their sides against each other. Why this is why we can't get a third party in there to win anything, is because we don't play the game. We're like, this is what we should be doing. Why aren't we doing this? Well, the reason we're not succeeding is because they don't want us to interfere with their game. So
Right.
what needs to happen at this point is mass non-compliance. The fireworks are a great example of that. We are not allowed to have fireworks that explode or go more than like 10 feet off the ground. Nobody follows that rule. They go to Washington or Idaho and they buy all the stuff that they want. They do it in November or December when it's
you
I
freeze.
still got my M50s. I'm still.
Oh.
nice.
and they blow them up, and there's absolutely nothing that law enforcement or fire can do about it except go put the fire out when it's over. That's all they can do. And then what you end up with an entire neighborhood who's each gone out and spent like $300-400 in another state on their vacation, and they've produced a better display than the guys downtown, and they can't figure out why nobody wants to go see the one downtown. Or Millersburg lights the field on the other side of the river on fire with their professional fireworks display. So theirs only lasts 5 minutes because they got to go fight the fire now. Everybody else figured out how to do it without lighting stuff on fire, but the professionals couldn't this year.
Well, maybe that's part of the show. I mean, you want to see a lot of action. You want to see fireworks. You want to see fire trucks. You want to see like people running around with hoses and screaming. I mean, that's part of the freedom of America, baby. Yeah, let's burn some crap down.
But I want to get back to this. The Republicans, and I'm going to show you a video here. You're going to love this lady in this video. She gives a perfect example of how she's totally lying. She's taking credit for something she didn't do. And once again, there are people out there who are cheering this person on when it's nothing but a bunch of bullshit. And I want to show you a video. And everything this woman is about to say is bullshit. I just want you to realize that. So let me throw that on the air.
And the Oregon House Republican leader, we just finished out our legislative session on Friday night. And I'm here to tell you that Republicans fought hard to push back against Democrat supermajorities who wanted to raise the largest tax hike in Oregon's history. They wanted to raise gas prices. They wanted to raise the price for you to buy a car. They wanted to raise the prices for you to register your car. They were willing to raise taxes on almost anything. But Republicans stood together in defense of Oregonians who told us they just could not afford any more taxes. And we killed the massive tax increase. Now it's time for us to continue to stand together. We had legislation to expand school choice. We had legislation to end tent cities. We had legislation to bring down the cost of living by lowering property taxes and ending taxes on tips and overtime. Republicans have a vision and solutions for the future of our state that Oregonians themselves have been asking for. I look forward to continuing to fight, to continuing to work hard on behalf of you, your families, and your businesses for a better future for our state. But for now, I just wanted to wish you all a very happy and safe Independence Day.
Yay, don't you feel better? I feel so warm inside now that I know the Republicans. The Republicans are so good at defeating that tax bill. Of course, they let the worst gun bill go through. That they slipped, and they could have stopped it all by walking the hell out of the building.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't. And here's the problem. They go, oh, we had a bill to do this, and we had a bill to do that. And I go, yeah, how well did that work? I mean, David Brock Smith had a bill that said we wanted to go back to one-day in-person ID mandatory, or no mail-in ballots or whatever, knowing full well there's absolutely no way that's going to get through the legislature. So yeah, they can waive all the bills they want, but they know absolutely certainly that none of them will ever get through. And the only way they stopped the Democrats was a couple of Democrats go, we're going to get lynched if we go back to our district and we raise taxes this much.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the Republicans. If the Republicans really wanted to stop crap, they would have walked out. And then there's no quorum and game over.
Marty, on that bill that you're talking about with David Brock Smith, how much do you want to bet that David Brock Smith paid programmers to create bots to go on and testify against his own bill? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. There was way too many testimonies to be humanly possible in a short amount of time like that.
It basically crashed OLIS, because what happened was I checked it early in the day, and it was like 800 people for and 1,200 people against it. And I checked the next morning at 6 a.m. There was 14,000 people against it. And I'm like, unless you automate that, there is absolutely, positively no way. And I started dismantling all the names and stuff in OLIS. And I was just like going, and pretty much everybody had the exact same response. So I was like, okay, well, next time I'm just going to write a program that'll read the voter rolls, pull everybody's name out of it, and go, I'm for this. Okay, next person in the voter roll. I'm for this. And then just do, 4,285,000, accepts or, supports. And then it'll blow up OList even more. And I don't think anybody looks at those things
They
anyway.
did that to DBS. They knew what he was doing, and they wanted to give him his dues. And that's why they made fools of him. That's why he ended up on all the headline newspapers. And yeah, he played right into their game. They let him right into their trap, and we watched it sprung. Leon, what do you think?
Though, that in vote by mail was already on the books. It was already in its infancy. And then David Brock Smith is like, oh no, I'm gonna do something about that. And then all of a sudden 14,000 testimonies in a short amount. No. I guarantee you that he had something to do with putting up
surprises.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
I doubt it was him, because, he is awash with Tuttle tokens and he has money, but I don't know if he'd be smart enough to think that one up. But there are a lot of D-run NGOs that get a whole lot of money. And they get a whole lot of
who
money.
is smart enough to do that though, Barty? Coco and those girls who went after me, Ben Edel, Danessa, the ones who work for the Real Deal. What's his name? Ed Deal, I think it is. Coco works for him. And it wouldn't be surprised if they worked through their fellow employees, their fellow senators or their fellow representative employees to do something like Samantha's saying. That really wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think it matters because it was going to, whether it was 14,000 or 3,000, they were going to make him look like a fool, and he didn't let anyone down.
But ultimately, what did it do though? So right now, well, Marty, you know this. Right now, I am fighting these Republicans on end vote by mail, where they think that they're what they're saying is, oh, Oregon's not ready for end vote by mail because they love their vote by mail, because guess how many testimonies against David Brock Smith's bill, and it's like, this is exactly their goal. That was exactly their goal, was to try to convince all these dummy head Republicans, okay, mindless zombies, that end vote by mail is going to be bad for Oregon because nobody wants it. Everybody loves their vote by mail,
Oh yeah, 75% of the people in Oregon, don't agree with end vote by mail.
Well, let's get it on the ballot and find out. Leon, Leon, I got to know what you think about this, because you're a complete third person from the end by vote by mail, and you're not a Republican, you're a libertarian. So I want to hear your perspective on that, because we're part of that end vote by mail campaign, and we're out getting signatures for it and stuff. And I was just wondering what you thought on that.
Okay, so long story. Back in high school, it's a long time ago. I remember they were talking about a vote by mail, and we already had it for smaller elections. Here's the thing though. I remember the excuses that they were saying. We're going to expand vote by mail because of this. It will get more people able to vote. Okay. Statewide voter turnout for May 20th this year, 20.3%.
Right.
It's not working anymore. Why is it not working? It's not because it's not accessible. It's because the voters don't care anymore. Yeah. That's why. They figured out that we're going to be ignored, and 20% of the people are still trying to do it. I turned in my ballot. Every last person on that ballot got no mark from me. I marked in the right end, none of the above. That's what needs to happen. We need to, if you want to change, you need to put none of the above on the ballot. If you don't like that person, you vote none of the above, and they go, and nobody gets put in. Okay. Nobody does it at this point. Then you have another election, and you pick another group of people, and those people need to say, okay, well, obviously I'm not good enough for this spot. I'll go do something else. But vote by mail is not the problem. The problem is we have trash candidates and corrupt politicians who insist on staying in office for too long. Run once and go do something else. Just stay out of politics. It's not a job to be in.
Yeah. The whole point
I would love to, because term limits is something that.
Yeah, because Leon froze up again, so I'll just kind of fill in some of the blanks where it's like, yeah, I mean, the whole idea, this wasn't supposed to be a career. This wasn't supposed to be a full-time job. This wasn't supposed to be I'm going to, quote-unquote, represent the people and then fill my bank account and fill the bank accounts of all my buddies and all my, and all the people that, I'm going to make sure that every single contract goes to a union, and then the unions will all give me a whole bunch of money so that I can give more contracts to the unions who can give me a whole bunch of money. And it's called money laundering. But, the whole idea is if you worked, the idea back in the 17 whatevers was that you didn't, you worked, you got a per diem, you worked when you got there, and then you went back and worked your farm, or you did whatever you did. And the whole idea wasn't you're not supposed to be there forever. You're supposed to be there, maybe 1 or 2 terms, and then find somebody else to do it. And term limits are great. I mean, it took a president as bad as FDR to get term limits in for presidency. Well, let's do it for every single office, no matter what office it is. You can only do it twice, and then you're done. And then
Yeah.
you can't run an NGO, and you can't run a what do they call those consulting firms where it's like they tell politicians what to do all the time. So
Well,
what do you think, Leon? What do you think?
if you remove the time that you've spent all that time networking, you no longer have lobbyists' power. It's
yeah, that's
it's
the
gone.
word I was trying to think of.
So
yeah, lobbyists.
Gordon Smith was a lobbyist for, I think, the National Association of Radio or something like that after he was done. And he recently retired. And he's a millionaire. He does not need a job. He went and did that because he wanted to.
Right.
So, you were talking about. I think that it needs to be even simpler than that. Everyone gets 10 years of total service. That includes House, Senate, President, House, Senate, Governor.
Right.
Just term limits. If we're going to apply term limits, we need to apply term limits to getting the person out after 10 years, regardless of where they're at. If they want to be a senator for 2 terms, that's 6 years. No, they can't. They could be 2 2/3 terms, but they're going to be done at 10 years. Somebody's going to have to replace them. That makes sense. 10 years, if that's good enough for the presidential slot, that's good enough for all the others too. Just make it 10 years across the board in total service at the federal and state levels. And then the counties should be, not the counties, that's a different story. Nobody should be boss hog though. So maybe the counties need to adopt those things, and the cities too. Term limits are a good thing. Term limits allow new information and new knowledge and new experience into a place that needs those things. It brings new conversation. It brings the opportunity for conversations to happen.
And I've gone back and forth on term limits many different times, because I always used to say, well, you want term limits. Well, that's what elections are supposed to be for, but that's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
And we've got a president. Thank goodness the last president didn't win. Thank goodness Biden didn't win. But who would have wanted
Harris.
4 terms of Obama? You know what I mean? Obama would have got 4 terms if he would have been allowed. And
yeah, they had a great PR thing going there.
So would Clinton.
And so would have Clinton.
Yeah. And if Reagan could have ran for another term, he probably would have got another at least one more.
Me and Nancy are going to run for another term.
So the ones that Reagan was back.
Did he freeze again?
I think he froze.
Oh, you back?
Yeah, he froze again.
I'm not
and
back.
He's back.
Yeah.
Reagan was an actor.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger ran in California. He can't run for president because he wasn't born in the U.S.
Didn't stop Obama.
Well, he at least had a birth certificate.
Right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The governor doesn't have a birth certificate.
The governor does not have a birth
That's
certificate.
right.
He needs-
Believe me now
he
and
needs-
hear me later. I will come back as governor.
Yeah.
I
But-
need my birth certificate.
But he made a smart move. He jumped in, did what he needed to do, and he jumped out. He stayed
Jumped
out.
out. Yeah. That's
He did not lose. He said, "I'm done."
yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesse Ventura did the same thing. These
Jesse
are
Ventura
guys that have acting experience. Jesse Ventura was a wrestler. They have name. Who was the guy who was a senator? He was Al Franken. He had a name.
Without that guy. Yeah.
But he did. I don't think he lost. I think he said, "I'm done," and he left. And it was.
I thought
like
he got drummed out for. I thought he got drummed out for shenanigans, but
Mhm.
I thought he was doing something with there was something that happened with him. The guy who used to do the self-affirmation on Saturday Night Live, who became that was a guy.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough.
Smart
darn
enough.
It, people like me.
Darn it, people like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
And then the guy that played Gopher on Love Boat, he was the state senator for Iowa, or state representative for Iowa for years and years and years. I mean,
Sonny Bono. Remember Sonny Bono was, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, they got to get there somehow. But that's the exact point I think backs up why there should be term limits, because of the fact that you get these guys in who have ultra personalities. They have a big following outside of politics, and people, they like winners, and I like to put winners in no matter how bad they are. I mean, we can look at kings. I mean, you look at Spain. King Ferdinand, he was taken out by Napoleon, and King Ferdinand was one of the worst tyrant kings in Spain. And by the time Napoleon was through, they were begging for Ferdinand to come back, and he finally did come back, and he was just as bad. But yet they want a winner. You know what I mean? They want someone who has that royal blood, and it's like, give me a freaking break. I mean, Goober over at the gas station could probably do just as a good job, and I don't want him to give him any money or authority.
He's an idiot, but he's our idiot, and we really like our idiots.
It was the Leanne Tweeden thing.
The what?
Leanne Tweeden took Franklin down.
I don't know. I'm not relating.
It was sexual misconduct allegations by
Oh, okay. So that was what took Al Franken down?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Probably a lot more than that.
On a 2006 USO tour during a rehearsal.
Sounds about right.
Why doesn't this surprise me? This is hilarious. I'm going to take it back to I guess the conversation we were having earlier, but this was an article that I thought was damn funny because I don't know what you guys thought of Boy George back in the day. I thought he was a joke. I thought he was hilarious, but he made millions of dollars. He made fame, made fortune, did his thing, and now I'm actually agreeing with Boy George, who doesn't think queer identity politics have helped anyone. You're starting from the wrong perspective. And basically what he says in this article, and I'll read this for you, he says, what do you care about someone's sexuality unless you're going to have sex with them? Asked the Gay Culture Club singer. Oh, and there's a picture of him. Wow. He's my age. You think he's like 60. He's
toned down.
It's not a bad look. I mean, he's looked worse and he's looked better, and so that's. I mean, if you look at Adam Ant nowadays, you're like, oh my God, what happened? And now that's one of his older pictures. So
yeah, that's from '83. Can you believe that? That's from '83. Damn, it seems like yesterday.
I never liked men that wore makeup very good. Like,
I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
Okay, so short story. I weaseled my way into that Republican light thing that Ben Edel was doing, and I was sitting next to Amber Richardson, and I'm like, okay, so I always look tired. It's just a thing that happens. I'm like, I should probably do something about that. So I had a stylist at the time, and I'm like, okay, stylist, I need to do some makeup because my background's in theatrical design and technology. I know how to do makeup, do my own makeup, right? So I went and I got some makeup, just to make me look like I wasn't a dead zombie on camera. That's all I was trying to do. Well, I put the makeup on, and I had done a better job than the women in the room, and nobody realized I had makeup on, except me, who's allergic to all the makeup.
Oh no!
I was like itchy eyes and trying not to cough the entire time, and so I'm having these general itchy type allergic reactions. I had done such a good job that nobody knew I had makeup on. I looked like a normal person, and nobody had a clue. Even the person who watched me touch it up in the mirror did not realize what I was doing after the fact. And I left in a hurry. I didn't stick around. I had to get it off the face, but it was just kind of.
I don't. I had a lot of friends who wore eyeliner back in the day, but makeup, no. Marty, you're a makeup guy, aren't you? You're a makeup guy.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
No, I mean, well, when I was working at like Roxy or Whiskey A Go Go, and it'd be like that was when glam bands were big, and so you had like Poison and Def Leppard and all these guys were dressed in spandex and they had poofy hair and they had
Yep.
like makeup and
Well-
you know and all that stuff. So Boy George was just another variation on, hey, look at me, I'm an entertainer. I mean, that's the way I looked at it.
Right.
It's
I
just
didn't
about,
like it. I don't know why. I just didn't like it. I
just
didn't like the whole long hair and makeup for guys. I just thought it. I was a kid, of course. You know, I graduated high school in '96. If that gives you
Yee.
a clue. I know, right? But I just didn't like it. I don't know. I just didn't find any man that wore makeup and had long hair attractive. Of course, when I went in the military, I was like, "Ooh, this is my type of guy," because it's
Right.
buzzed hair
Yeah.
and clean face and no makeup on. So, not that I know of anyway.
I only do it to special reasons.
For Ben Edel's meetings, he dresses up for makeup.
Yeah. I
It's
only
just
put on
that,
makeup for Ben Edel.
The occasional costume, for Halloween.
Yeah.
Any production that I'm on stage and acting for.
Marty,
Oh,
did
yeah.
you just say Ben wears makeup?
No, I said the only time I wear makeup is for Ben Edel.
And
So.
for Ben Edel.
Oh, I thought you said Ben wore makeup. I was gonna make fun of him.
So-
Okay. So,
The one person who's done this correctly is Eddie Izzard.
There you go.
Eddie will answer to either his Eddie or Susie. And
What's
if you
his
knew me as
name?
Eddie, I'm going to answer to Eddie. If you want to call me Susie, that's great too. I'm not going to tell you that you have to treat me any differently than he does. But Eddie slash Susie wears dresses now and makeup like a woman does, like eyeliner and lipstick type stuff.
Who is this? Eddie who?
Eddie Izzard. Eddie Izzard is the he was a comedian and actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
English comedian and actor kind of guy.
Yeah, British guy.
Okay.
I could have sworn he did some stuff.
Well, I want to play this quick this video of Trump, and I know you're not a big fan of Trump, Leon, but this one was kind of interesting. I thought this video was interesting, so
couldn't pay me enough to vote for him.
and I completely get it. I didn't vote for him the first time. But I'll tell you what, he was the first president who ever took away regulations that actually affected our business directly. That earned my vote. I've never seen anyone do that. And then this NPR and PBS, yeah, freaking A. It's about time Congress did something. But I want to play this video real quick.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Have you guys heard? Big news out of Oregon. I mean, it's huge. Petitions are circulating for the End VBM ballot initiative. Tina Kotex is going to go batshit. She will put tampons in the dispensers at doggy parks and legalize velociraptor abortions over this one. Make sure to sign the End VBM petition. Look for Michaela and Ben at County Fair booths this summer and spread the word. When you end vote by mail in Oregon, illegals will stop terrorizing the streets, but Rosie O'Donnell will still be a fat pig. Go to nvbm.com and show your support to make Oregon great again. Big Daddy Trump out. Have you guys?
Big Daddy Trump out.
That's
Big Daddy
that's
Trump
great AI stuff. That is. So I'm sitting here going, where's the? I don't see any legal problem. What I see is a problem with government involving themselves in my life.
Yeah.
I don't see, and as a result, there are people who are illegal because government has called them illegal. It's an invisible line. It's an invisible line. It does not matter who comes across it. They're coming across because it's a better thing. And this is a tail of the dragon thing. Samantha, you were in the military. Do you know what the tail of the dragon is?
Nope.
Okay. The U.S. military requires 10 people behind every front line serviceman. 10 logistics people. That means, and most militaries have logistics. They're anywhere from 3 to 10. The U.S. is the longest tail of the dragon. So they put an infantryman in a theater. And there are 10 people behind that infantryman creating the supply convoy. 10 people. Okay, that's what they call the tail of the dragon.
Right.
The tail of the dragon is 3 to 10. That means for every illegal, I'm just gonna air quote that, illegal, every person who comes across the border, that's 3 to 10 jobs that are created just to support them. They're not taking jobs away. They're literally powering our economy because now we need more jobs to support the bigger population.
I would disagree with that because there's too much of a corporate, a welfare state that a lot of these people are living off the dole, and that's
Okay.
our fault. I will take the blame. You know what I mean? That's the government's of America's fault because we're giving them money, we're bribing them. But that's wrong. We can't have the welfare state and open borders. And I would even argue we still need something to make sure
the welfare state anyway. That should be gone.
Right.
But I watched a guy who was a legal alien. I watched that I needed. Am I cutting out again?
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut out again.
Yeah.
In Utah, I'm applying for the things that I need because I need welfare at this point. This is 25 years ago, a young adult with children. So I'm in this position. And I watched this guy who is a legal alien that could do it. He just said, I don't want to jump through these hoops. I'm going to go down to Home Depot and see if I can find a job.
Mm-hmm.
And they just looked at him and said, okay, that's your choice. The problem is not that we have the welfare. The problem is that there is a group of people that say there are a lot of people who are on the dole. There are a few people who are on the dole. I know a couple that live on welfare and won't get off. Those people need to be dealt with. But how do you do that? They have a legitimate need at the moment. How do you motivate them to go make money?
Well, you take them off the dole, and hunger is a great motivator. And I'll tell you right now, I went to Subway tonight, Leon, and they closed at 2. I didn't know this. I got there at 6. And the reason they closed was because they didn't have any employees there. Maybe some illegals could have taken that job, but they didn't have any employees. And they didn't have any employees at the post office this morning because they have staffing shortage there. Maybe some of the illegals could work there. But the thing is I'm thinking maybe Americans aren't doing this because Americans are now fat and lazy because of that same welfare state that has drawn the Mexicans and the South Americans and all the other world here. I think that's
could be that employers are toxic and that the people don't know their rights. I get fired a lot.
Yeah. Education is down we're number 50 in education. So Oregon is one of the worst. I used to live in Idaho, and you know what? I would walk around and there would be healthy, muscular men and women that were just, chiseled in Idaho. And I would walk around like, wow. And they were number, I think, 49 in rank of welfare recipients. And then I moved to Oregon and I'm like, the hell? There's women that are 300 pounds in muumuus on their little drivey cart in the grocery store, can't even get up off of it. And I'm like, oh my God. And we're we're top 5 in welfare recipients. So tell me what's wrong with that there,
Yeah, people have been paid too much for too long to do nothing, and now a lot of people are getting used to doing nothing, and then you dumb down education to where we're 49th or 50th in the country. So you get people coming out of high school that can't even graduate high school legally, and then you go,
I passed,
and they won't take a job.
Right, and they won't take a job. But the thing is I saw there was 3 homeless guys in the parking lot of the same Subway where I was at. And I'm thinking, wow, you guys take a shower, you put on some plastic gloves, I'd actually let you make my sandwich. You're out there, you're able to do whatever you're doing to survive out here, but yet they get paid, they get money. And I know this because I've seen them with their EBT cards and all the other goodies that they get. There's plenty of places in town you can get food. Nobody starves in America. Nobody is starving in America. And so this ticks me off when I go to a store. I got bums outside that I know I'm paying for with my tax dollars, and I can't even get a freaking sandwich on a Friday night.
And what do they use? What do they use their extra money on?
Drugs.
Alcohol,
Booze.
drugs. Yeah.
Well, that's okay, there is a limit to compassion, and it should be applied correctly. If you give somebody $1, I guess I had a reasonably good education back in the day. There was a class I had to take in Pendleton.
Oh.
Things.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, we got there was a class I had to take in Pendleton,
Pendleton.
and then that was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Contemporary
like,
World Affairs. And we watched a 60 Minutes thing on this guy who was a professional bum. He owned penthouses. He did not need the money, but he would work in 9 to 5 and be a professional bum. They would go home, put on his Armani suit, go hang out in the club at the base of the building he owned, and hang out with his friends. And that was the moment where I said, I'm not going to give $1 to anyone on the street ever.
Ever.
And I never have. I will help you. I will provide you with, I will go give you a food, an item of food. But I will never give you money, not ever. And if you say I don't want that, okay, that's the end of my compassion. I'm not going to help you. If you come to me and say I'm having a hard time, I'm going to go help you find a job.
Mm-hmm.
Might, if you do that thing, I might help you with a couple of weeks where you can get a paycheck and then go get a place to live. Right. I have done that before. I have said, okay, I've got 2 weeks that I can house you. Let's go get you a job. Let's go get you a place to live. I've done that. But the end of the compassion happens at the 2 weeks mark. If you don't make the effort, you don't win the Cupid doll there. So,
and I'll tell you what,
workers' comp is not a compensation system; it's an insurance policy. I don't have workers' comp. I work for myself. It only happens if you're an employee for somebody else because they're responsible for your welfare at your job. Well, welfare in general. I mean, there are other programs that could go far. Advantage of them. So there's a limit to compassion, and we can't have that because the government is involved. Government welfare is just
bad.
Just people welfare is perfect, and people welfare is what will get the homeless problem dealt with. No one will starve with people welfare. But we have regulations to prevent us from doing that.
You mean like churches?
I'm talking about individuals. Churches are just a group of individuals that have been together. Individuals are what I'm talking about. Anytime you put a government agency in charge of something, it's going to get screwed up, and it's going to stay screwed up. Because
Leon, let me ask you. They've with the NGOs that they have now, and they're funneling. They funnel a lot of government money into these NGOs. Remember the private-public partnership? That bullshit that they were pushing on us. And now we've got any NGOs where we can't find out any information on them. We can't figure out where the money goes. They get a whole bunch of money, and they're causing more problems, as far as I see, getting this government money. Than if, once again, we did what you said, we allowed people to keep their own damn money and then let the individual decide how much compassionate they want to be. It just seems like we're screwed up at this point.
Well, not only that, they make it a point they have to put in reports to account for the money, right? But here's what people forget about. If that is their business, they are not going to do it to the point where it makes sense to the rest of us. They're going to do it so that they can continue taking money.
Yeah.
They're going to do it to take those tax dollars that we have offered them, and they're going to do it just good enough so that they can report there's a plausible
improvement. Yeah, so basically, if they're in the business of staying in the business of the homeless industrial complex is huge. And the whole thing is if they solve the problem, then all of these people would be out of a job, and they don't want that to happen. and when and they've got a lot of money that they're funneling, and so as Leon was saying, it's like they're going to do just enough to make it look like they're making some sort of incremental gain, so they can get more funding and then get more NGOs to give them more money so that they can be more compassionate. And oh golly, look at the fact that we got like $6 million last year to help the homeless. Well, I mean, I think it was L.A. has gone through almost like $1 billion to help the homeless, and they're from
A couple of billion. It's more than
yeah.
that. It was like a couple of billion.
But not only that, but the numbers have increased from like 55,000 to 155,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, at what point does somebody go, we're not fooling anybody anymore. Let's just, let's go to plan B.
Well, it gets worse than, because when you realize what they've really done, you start going, okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. I talked to somebody who had been homeless, and they said, I came to Oregon because the laws and the programs are in Oregon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Utah had a program, and it was completely, they took empty houses and they just gave people houses. That's all they did.
That'll turn
They
out
didn't
well.
spend any extra money, but they had like a 75% success rate with the people they placed in houses. It wasn't run by the government. It was run by they took foreclosed houses that couldn't be sold, or tax lien houses. They bought them for cheap. They gave them the deed.
Who's they? Who's they?
I can't remember. I had a friend who was involved with the
Okay.
organization. Remember the name? I never heard the name of the organization, but they did it, and they did it for 5 or 6 years. They placed like.
The reason it works, though, is because you have individuals who are going to be more discerning than any of the government agents, because it's not their money. So I think that's why it works better through an individual driven process. That's why it worked. That's why they had 75% rate.
I remember hearing stories from my grandparents where they would just, somebody came looking for food, they would offer them day work. And that was of course that was 40s, 50s. That was okay for that thought process to happen. It doesn't always happen with those, with people thinking in terms of that, though.
Right.
I would much rather work for what I'm eating, because I know I've earned it. I don't have to worry about that. That's my personal ethic. Not everybody has to share that. I understand that. Not everybody will share that. But if I have that ethic and I go to work and I open my business, open myself a business because with whatever I can work for, and I maintain it and I keep it out of debt, I can operate. I think I'm up to 12 businesses that are debt free right now. I only have one that has that has a physical structure, and it's not doing anything. So I'm using the physical structure to support the other businesses, and that's something that people don't think about.
I'll tell you what experience that me and my wife just had. We have our own business. Her family created a coffee roasting business. She built it up. We just celebrated our 30-year anniversary in business. So we've been doing quite well, and we do all right down here. And I'm very proud of my wife. It's all on her. She does all the work. She's the backbone of this business. She's the heart and soul. And the thing is that we wanted we were considering opening up and expanding on this business. And we had an opportunity, but after going over the business plan, we were going to make maybe 2% profit at the end of the year. And we were going to have to work our ass off just to make that 2% profit. And at this point, and we would have created 10 jobs. That's 10 new jobs that we would have created here in Bandon, but we're not going to do that now, because after looking at it, we have a quality of life issue, and we don't want to spend our days working our ass off to get 2% of whatever profit we might make off of this coffee industry. You know what I mean? So it's something that People really don't understand who aren't business owners. They don't know how hard it is. And one of the leading costs, employee salaries.
That's why I don't have any employees. I don't even
Yeah.
work. I don't even work for myself.
So
I am a contractor.
so we're competing. So I've been thinking this for many years. So if Oregon's not a very business friendly place at all, I mean, it's full on communism now. But
Right.
but I've been thinking this for many years now. Welfare recipients make a lot more money than those that make minimum wage. So you're competing. So because of welfare, you're
I
competing.
have to challenge that on the basis of the numbers.
Well, think about free housing. Okay, how much do I pay in housing every month? Free food. How much do I pay in food every month? Free electricity bills. How much do I pay in that every month? Free. I mean, free. You don't have to pay, right?
Okay.
So welfare. So it turns out that welfare recipients make a lot more than you would on minimum wage. Where if you make minimum wage, you struggle because of that, right? So businesses are competing. They are competing with welfare recipients, trying to get minimum wage employees in there.
Right.
And it's a struggle. It really is.
Leon, you wanted to challenge that. Go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
do, and the reason this is because minimum wage at the bottom end is $14.05 an hour, and top end
$12.50 here in Douglas County.
$12.50.
In Douglas County. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be $14.05 as of July 1st, 2025.
July 1st. Yeah, it went up
Oh,
to
okay.
15.05.
They must have raised it. Okay, which
So-
which hurts us even worse. Sorry.
The Portland area is $16.30 an hour, but I'm not seeing minimum wage jobs in Eugene. I'm not seeing $15.05 an hour in Eugene. I'm seeing $17, $18, $19.
Right.
Because
as
they're competing with
start.
welfare recipients. Welfare recipients don't want to get
So-
off their fat butts and go to work.
Well, and here's where the problem is. If you vilify the welfare recipients, they're going to stay there. They're not going to get up. Why should they?
Right.
I had my second wife accused me of cheating so many times that I actually thought about doing it just because I was already paying for it already. Why not go ahead and do the crime that I was being accused of on a daily basis if I was going to have to pay for it anyway? If you vilify a welfare recipient, and being that I have been a welfare recipient,
Mhm.
if you vilify me and tell me that I'm lazy, I might as well I'm already paying for it.
Yeah, but the thing is if
It's
we're
wrong.
paying you, if we're calling you lazy because we're paying you a lot of money for welfare, and you decide you don't want to work, even though you're able-bodied and you have the capability and the ability to do these things, you
That
know
makes
what?
you lazy.
You deserve the label
Right.
lazy or destitute or
But-
spineless or
but the
whatever.
whole thing
'cause it's
is-
like, it's like, yeah, okay, vilify him, sure, and why not vilify him? Because why are we have to pay for this? I'm paying for that person to get welfare. Why?
And these are
should
adults,
I not
not
vilify
children.
them?
Right. When I see younger men, younger than I am, who can speak perfect English, they're healthy. I know because I go out and I do patrol in areas where there's a lot of homeless who are on private property, and we'll go out there and we'll get them off there. And these guys they're younger than I am, and they are receiving these type of these program benefits. I have
receiving
no
how much?
problem calling them lazy. I don't have any problem telling them you're a bunch of skeezy bums, and the society is fucked up for allowing these people to get more and more money. Now, not everyone's in that situation. There are people.
But here's what I'm calling out. You've
Okay.
just described a homeless person. They're not getting more than about $200 or $300 in food stamps. That's all they're
No,
getting. They might be
I'm
getting
describing a criminal. These are street criminals. They like to call them homeless, but they're street criminals.
okay. If they don't have a home and they're not getting free shelter,
But they have the choice.
they
They have
buy
the choice to get free housing or
Do they though?
transitional housing. They do.
I couldn't get free housing with a child. Okay.
So
It was a
so
2-year wait list
transitional-
for Section 8. It's a 2-year wait list in every county for Section 8 because people who get on these things aren't always able to get off of those things. Okay. Section 8 housing is so backed up and so far that I applied for it, and then I went on to get a job and got out of the situation. And when they finally called me, I said, I don't need it anymore.
When I lived in an apartment complex in Los Angeles, we had a whole bunch of Section 8. Every single apartment complex has to have an X amount of units that are Section 8. We had people living in Section 8 housing that were driving brand new Mercedes and owned numerous coffee shops and bakeries and businesses. And so they didn't need Section 8 housing. And so we said, well, who do we report this to? And the state basically said, we don't care. We know people are ripping us off, and we don't care because we get a lot of money to give people a lot of money so we can do Section 8. And that way we can determine who gets the stuff and who doesn't. And so it's more government overreach saying, okay, well, we're going to have people that are grifting and we're not going to do anything about it. So,
And
maybe
here's
you
the
should
other
have said
thing.
you were an illegal alien and you could have gotten a free, free apartment.
You can't do anything about that. It's not possible to do anything about that. If the people who are supposed to regulate that won't respond, then they won't. Then you can't do anything about that, except to replace those people
Or get rid of the program.
And in the best option would be to get rid of the program,
Right.
because welfare as a government entity should not exist. Welfare as a private entity is something that comes out of the kindness of somebody's heart.
Right.
That should exist.
Yep.
We all agree on that, do we not?
Oh, totally. We all agree on that.
Oh, yeah.
What I don't agree with, though, is vilifying them because some of them have no control over the situation. They can't be the
Are they
single mom.
adults?
They're adults, but they can't. They may not be able to have they may not have the mental faculties to actually go get a job.
But that's
They
not.
may not be
welfare.
able to be
They
stable.
do not have if they do not have the mental capability to do something like memory care facilities, right? They don't even have the mental capacity to vote, and but somehow all those
They're
people are
voting. They're all voting.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but anyways, but they don't have the mental capacity to vote. So, but they don't get welfare if they don't have or so-called welfare, right? They get Social Security disability.
Utility.
Okay?
Right.
Yes,
That's
that's
something
what they
that
get.
we pay
They
into.
don't get welfare. That's not the welfare we're talking about. The welfare that I'm
Yes.
talking about, where I'm not shaming anybody, because believe me, I've been there. I was actually homeless at one point in time because I got into a car accident and I had to give a 30-day notice, and I lived in a hospital for 3 months. Okay. In the VA hospital, and I had to go into transitional housing.
Oh my
So
God! You lived in a VA hospital for 3 months. You poor
did.
dear. Oh my God!
I know. Oh, they used my medications against me too. So it was horrible. It was horrible. Don't ever stay at a VA hospital. But so I've been there. I've been there, done it. But guess what? I pushed myself. I learned how to walk again. In fact, those doctors that were in the hospital, when they see me and they see me walking, they cannot believe it. I had such a hard time to learn how to walk again. I mean, but I had to go into transitional housing. I got, what is that, like a little food stamp card, whatever it was,
EBT.
TANF or what, something. I don't remember what it was, but I had to use that for groceries. I was embarrassed to use it. Okay. And we should be embarrassed like that to use government money when if we have the capability to actually, work ourselves. But I worked up to that point where I was able to have a job again,
I'm not going to be embarrassed to take my taxes back. I'm sorry, you're not going to get that to happen. This exists because for some reason my child needs $120 in the summer to because school is out.
Do you live in Oregon?
I live in Oregon. I live in
Communism sucks.
This is a
we are now
federal
affording.
program, not a state program. This federal program sends $120 to every student who may qualify without.
What does it say on there? What does it say on there?
This is a food stamp card.
Right, I know,
There's
but what does it say?
$20 in food stamps.
You just said it was a federal program, but what does it say?
What does the card say?
What does the card say?
The card says Oregon Trail. Oregon manages it.
Oregon manages it, but it's a federal program.
Federal program. Oregon, the states manage the federal program.
So Leon, I think you're absolutely right. You should be able to take back your tax dollars if those programs exist, because you pay into those programs. And I don't demean anyone who is trying to better themselves and utilize these programs. I'm one who wants to get rid of these programs because I think more money would be in the economy to be rebounding for families like yours so that they didn't need the $120. I think the reason so many of us need money is because there's not enough money in the economy rebounding because it's being eaten up by all these federal and state and local programs. Would you agree with me on that one?
I didn't need the $120. They didn't.
Well, I didn't think you did, but you know what I mean?
And what we're doing is we're using it to buy stupid stuff like candy bars and ice cream because we don't buy that all the time.
Right.
Anyway.
There's nothing stupid about candy bars and ice cream.
No, there's nothing.
What are you talking about?
That. It's stupid
you're
because
crazy to talk. That's crazy talk.
It's stupid because we don't have to have that stuff.
Right. I know.
We're not using it to buy salads either. So
right.
When we used to do welfare stuff, I mean, when I lived in small town Iowa, if like somebody's barn burned down, everybody would pitch in and help them rebuild the barn. Or if somebody was going through a hard time, we would help them out. And when I lived in Berkeley and I was going, working there, I got tired of seeing some of these street bums, and I was like going, why are you here? And one guy was like, I'd see him every night, and he'd always be busking me for money. And I'd like, why are you here? And he's like, got in a fight with the wife, and I got kicked out, and I got nowhere else to go. And I'm like, okay, well, I started working with him, got him a place to stay. I eventually got him to the point where he could get a job. So I wasn't like, oh, you're an idiot because you're on welfare. I mean, there are people that are grifting the system, and those I'm going to vilify. Or there are people that are able-bodied and not going to do anything about it. I'm going to vilify. But if somebody honestly needs help and is willing to try, I'm not vilifying them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to build them up and help them get along, pull them up by their bootstraps, and let's make this work. So, yeah.
I've seen some new signs in the homeless camp in the last week. Mm-hmm. I've seen 5 different guys that say, I could use a job. I could use work. And I'm sitting there going, who do I know that's hiring? And now I don't go out very often, but every once in a while I talk to people. Mm-hmm. It's scary. So now I'm making these conversations, and I'm finding out that there are people who are actually looking for work, but they're applying at the same old places. The corporations who are always taking applications, and then they take 6 months to hire somebody.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm looking at. The numbers don't match up to what you were saying. The minimum wage for Douglas County is $14.05 according to the Department of Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries, which, by the way, minimum wage is a welfare program and needs to end, because if you got rid of that, you would have the economy would just boom, because people would be able to negotiate and do all that wonderful stuff. You ditch minimum wage, you get a lot more. Anyway, I'm going to move on. That's $29,224 a year without taxes. Once you take taxes out, let's just call that a quarter. So I'm going to divide that by 0.25.
So my mother and I did the calculations for a welfare recipient. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. And in the state of Oregon, you made about $80,000 because it was free housing, free food, free energy, free. So it all added up to about $80,000 a year.
So having,
and then you have multiple people in one home.
In the last 10 years of navigating that program, you can't make that much. It's not possible.
Well,
not
that's
possible.
what we calculated, and my mom was a very smart person too, so
Okay.
that's what we calculated.
So there are housing and there are utility programs. We won't even say that that's a thing. The utility programs are actually run by the utilities. I don't know if you knew
Right.
that.
Yes, I did.
And they
But
can
it's still
grant
money that
those.
it's still money that I, having a job, right? It's still money that I
Yeah,
have to
you're paying
pay
into
having a job.
You're-
I
you're-
have to
you're
pay
paying
rent.
into this.
I have to pay mortgage. I have to pay electricity bill. But if you are on any welfare programs, you get a discount, or you
And
get,
here's the other thing also that you guys are missing is that there's a whole. You were just talking about the dragon. You were talking about, what was it? The tail of the dragon. The tail of the dragon. So how many, you got a homeless person, how many people logistically has to be in some bureaucracy or agency or government position to help these people out that's sucking up money that could be going into the economy? How much of the buildings, the upkeep, the maintenance, the programs, the voting, the time, the energy that we put into all this government shit to
During
give
COVID,
these
they were
people-
all out anyway. Sell the buildings off and let's move on.
There
So
you go.
Let me go back to this. $29,224 minimum wage without taxes. If we took a quarter of that out for taxes, that's $7,300. Okay, $7,300 is you might, well, if we take housing, because they're not expensive properties. If we take housing and say it's $1,200 a month times 12, we can agree with that. That might be realistic, right? And a lot of the Section 8 stuff is percentage. So you're paying a percentage based on your income.
I know a guy that pays $1 every month, $1
That's
for his rent.
That's what he's allocated for his rent. And I get that. The TANF program, I was on that during my divorce. The TANF program was, they literally would pay my rent. That's it. It was $400.
It was like $400 or $500 a month you get.
$400. Now here's where it got fun.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a divorce. The state interjected in my divorce to try to force child support because I was on TANF. TANF is not a welfare program. TANF is offset by other things, and the state goes after somebody for that. So TANF is not free, and it doesn't come directly out of taxes. It comes out of child support programs and other programs that require people outside of that family unit to pay into.
But it's something that if you make too much money working, you cannot get.
Well, it also meant that the only thing I could do was live. I couldn't do anything else. I could not pay my utilities. I could not pay my food. I could not pay for gas to go get my food. I lived like 3 miles out of town. I could not pay for anything except the rent with that money.
The struggle is real right now.
But it doesn't matter it doesn't matter that you could only pay your rent with that money. The whole point is you're getting that money for free, whereas Samantha has to pay that money to get her rent.
I wasn't getting
well,
somebody else was paying it for me at the time.
But still, you were not.
You
paying
got
for
it
that.
free then, because someone else is paying for it.
So you're taking
my taxes that year,
and you're giving it to this person.
Because I had gotten a job and got off TANF. They took my taxes that year. They did not give that money to me for free. I paid for it in some way. Somebody else paid for it in some way. It was not free.
But you're taking it.
But you're not paying for it.
Right. You're taking it from.
No, they took my tax return.
So all of this leads me to believe we need to get rid of this program because of just this conversation.
It's also a federal program,
right?
Another federal program. Most of these programs are federal. They are not. They are run by the states. They are not created by the states. Federal money comes in, which means that nobody's paying for it. It's just getting tacked onto that big debt right now. That's where
growing on trees.
So our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren will be paying on that, or be paying on the interest of that.
Our taxes will be paying for that for the next 25, 30 years. So-
we're just going to end the Fed, and we're going to get rid of income tax, and we're going to tariff everything, and it'll all be fine. Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Marty. Thank you for leading us there. So
is just a tax on the people.
HB 2435 is the gold standard. HB 8421 is the Federal Reserve abolishment. Okay, and then HB 25 is the abolishment of the IRS by 2027. We know Trump is talking about getting rid of taxes. Period. So taxes are unconstitutional. They are.
They are.
So I
Yes, we-
just put up this poster because this was something I was going to talk about tonight, and it's
What is
the Regional Resilience Forum's informational sessions for the plan for a resistant, resistant
resilient.
Resilience.
Resilient.
Resilient.
I guess that is resilient. Okay, sorry. Resilient Oregon, the Department of Administration Services, State Procurement Services, on behalf of the Office of Governor Tina Kotek, is seeking to contract with up to 50 community-based organizations who
Oh
will
my
provide
God.
wisdom and feedback to inform a statewide resiliency plan. Learn more about the plan and find out if you might be a great fit at an information session. BIPOC, LGBTQ, veterans, disability organizations, as well as small and volunteer-run organizations are encouraged to attend and apply. Now, you read down further, it says, can't make the session in your region? Well, you're welcome to join any of the others. Questions asked and answered from all sessions will also be compiled and sent out to everyone who is registered. So what the hell do you think this is?
What
More
is a
DEI.
regional? What is
Well,
a regional resiliency program? It sounds like here's how we're going to continue to launder money through NGOs back to people that are going to give us money
Yep.
as politicians.
And it's
That's my
regionalism.
guess.
It's regionalism, which is them trying to dilute the cities, the counties, and their authority.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your take on this, Leon?
I'm not sure I have a take other than that it sounds like a boondoggle.
Yeah.
God,
So the only thing I'm it says here, can't make a session, you're welcome to go to any others, that they're going to compile all of them and send out to everyone. So it sounds to me like Eastern Oregon, like nobody's going to show up in Eastern Oregon,
no.
and nobody's going to half the people are going to show up in Central Oregon. Southwest Oregon's probably going to go, what the heck is this? They're probably doing the same thing. But Northwest Oregon and Portland Metro are going to ask a bunch of questions, and as a result, they're going to make it sound like Eastern Oregon and Central Oregon and Southwest Oregon answer these questions. This is the problem with centralized planning. None of the stuff that they come up with in Salem works anywhere but in Salem
Right.
or Portland. It doesn't work anywhere else. So the idea that you're going to create it could be fixed really fast. If you want to fix the homeless problem, you ditch zoning completely, and you permits completely, and then the problem will fix itself in less than 5 years, because the permits are adding massive costs, and the zoning restricts where you get rid of all that. Nobody has a problem. You could have Harney County has more cows than people. You could actually subdivide some cow grazing land and hand somebody 5 acres to build something, and all of a sudden there's this nice little town, and they'll have the infrastructure figured out, but nobody will be asking for permits. And when they don't ask for permits, that means that you can have your pallet house.
So
is it a great place to live? No, but it is a place to live.
But you can live however you want to live, and the government is slumlords. We've got pallet houses here that are run by the county, but yet if I put up a pallet house place, I would be called a slumlord. So now we're allowing the government to be slumlords when individuals could be doing it on their own. And like you said, there's land use laws development fees, high regulations, the central planning that they have in Oregon, if all of that was changed, all the zoning and planning, most of it just gotten rid of, yeah, we wouldn't have to worry about this homeless bullshit. But then again, a lot of this homeless isn't really homeless. It's about druggies who want to continue to use their drugs and live in the street and live the life that they want to live.
There are a lot of people
those
that are
guys do
homeless
that.
on purpose.
Here's where the next step is. You revert, you ditch all of the laws that say that you can't protect your property, and then everybody gets armed. So I'm the place where I rent my shop. I'm going to tell you this because I know I didn't break any laws. The place where I rent my shop had a homeless person that was causing problems. I fixed it. The way I fixed it, when they came to me trying to tell me that their dad was the one who owned the place or renting my shop, I told them if I saw them again, I was going to start shooting. I didn't say with what. I didn't say at whom, at anybody, or in what direction, or any of that other stuff. All I said is I'm just going to start shooting. I saw them one more time. They stuck their head in my open door, and I was on the ground, and my gun was showing. And I haven't seen them since. It's been 8 months since I saw them. And every time I see a homeless person, I said, look, if I see you again, I'm just going to start shooting. And I've told everybody there, just tell them you're going to start shooting. You don't have to tell them you're going to shoot at them, just that you're going to start shooting. Then they get the message is no longer safe. If everybody's armed and you can defend your property again, that's why fences make great neighbors, because their boundaries are clear. If the boundaries are then clear and the people will defend their boundaries, then all of a sudden the problem will disappear.
Go away.
They will either fix their lives and stop trying to escape reality, or they will die trying.
So let's go back to the 9-year-old who's allowed access to a gun. We just had an incident in Texas where a 9-year-old killed 2 intruders who were trying to break into his house. Actually, he killed one and wounded the other.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
He was 9 years old. He did this. And they would have got in. God knows what they would have done to the kid. They were going to look to steal. They were looking for whatever. You know what I mean? And here's a 9-year-old at home alone because his mom had to work. And he's the only one who can defend himself. And I want him to have that ability to defend himself. And I had taught my son how to use weapons so he can defend himself. And I took him, we went to self-defense classes for 14 years. He's a black belt in Taekwondo or something. He can put his foot up against your head at any time he wants. That's how badass this kid is. And so I agree with you, Leon. The problem is we don't have any private property protection rights anymore. They've taken away those rights. They've eroded them. They've eliminated them.
With the exception of arson.
The exception of arson.
Lethal arson and murder are the 2 things that you can use immediate lethal force on.
So I tell everyone that if someone comes to your house to rob your house and you shoot them, put a Bic lighter in their hand because they were going to burn my house down.
Well, that means that Antifa should all go down, right? Like all those Antifa terrorists that from 2020.
See, and that's the thing I've been telling people. Look, if you just go armed and they try to, throw a Molotov cocktail at you, that's arson, and they can be terminated on site. If you do that twice, just 2, it's only going to take 2, and they're going to go, oh, this isn't safe for us anymore, and they're going to stop doing it.
Right.
That's what. So Pendleton was funny when all that stuff happened. I still have acquaintances in Pendleton. Nobody remembers me. Nobody cares about me. So we're not going there. But I have some acquaintances in Pendleton that were showing me what happened when the BLM thing, the protests started happening during the Summer of Love. Okay, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho had a similar thing happen. So Pendleton, everybody turned out. The law enforcement went ahead and shut down the roads. They walked down Court Street. They went down to Roy Raley Park. They had their thing. And then they went and got their gear on and stood out in front of their businesses overnight, armed to the teeth.
Yep. Like
I was seeing pictures of people with, there's only one thief in the Army. Everybody else gives their stuff back. But this guy had his flak jacket from the Army and his Kevlar helmet from the Army. and he was standing out in front of his friend's house with his AR and his flag, ready to go. Nothing happened.
Yep. And that's because they knew people were willing to defend themselves. And we did the same thing here in Coos County. In fact, in the New York Times, there was an article about Coquille in 2020 when they had threatened Antifa had threatened to come down here and burn down our courthouse because our sheriff was a racist. And they were going to come down here and burn down our courthouse. And I would say there was about 400 men with high-powered rifles more than happy to engage with Antifa. And you were talking about the arson thing. So the cop came up to us, the sheriff's deputy, and he says, look, guys, I got to explain the law to you. He says, if they're using physical force, you can only use physical force. You can only match it for what you're matching. He says the only way you could ever shoot anyone is if they're committing arson. Just like you said, the only way that someone you can shoot at someone for a crime is arson. And I'm one of those who, if it's your property, I think you should be allowed to shoot trespassers. That's where I'm at. So I'm just one of those who,
If I had acreage, I would never call 911. I'd call 811, but not 911.
Absolutely.
So there is some.
By the way, that's for the dig your for anyone who doesn't know, the utility dig your whole lot.
You should do that well in advance.
Oh.
Yeah.
And, plant them vertically, and put what's left of that deer that you took care of.
A lot of things you can do with a backhoe
there's a lot.
Quick lime.
I'm not. These aren't my ideas. I stole them from somebody else.
Me too.
Okay. So going back to the thing, if you have more than one aggressor, you can use lethal force because more than one means that you are now overpowered.
Correct.
And you can escalate at that point. However, if there's 400 to 1 and you're all armed, none of you can do that. You have to wait until they present, and then you can present. But just, if they want to go ahead and burn down that building, don't stop them. Just make sure that when they, because arson is a crime, so let them start the fire first, and then you can do something about it. Then you can put out the fire. It's not gonna be a problem then, because they're not gonna be trying to relight it while you're fighting it. So, with my child, he's been shooting since 3 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew very quickly that he was going to want to move like Dad does. So I took care of that and got him a setup that he could move with at age 3 or 4. We then set it up so that it would be stationary as much as possible, but he eventually got to the point where he could hit everything he was aiming at. So why not let him put that dot on that thing and move at the same time? It doesn't hurt to do that. He's in a controlled environment. He's got a qualified instructor, me, as qualified as I can. I remember my dad having a 30-30 that we went out and shot cans with when I was 3 or so years old. So it's not like this is unheard of. It's experience that I had, and then I gave it to my child. All of my children have shot with me, all 3 of them. So it's not. I have no intention of saying, okay, just give your kid this and don't teach them how to do anything. My kid doesn't play with guns.
Right.
They're all over the place here. He doesn't play with them. He knows what they do. He knows what they are. He knows how to operate them, and they're in a ready condition for him to do so.
Right.
And when I say all over here, I'm so.
Which, by the way, you just admitted you're breaking the law because you're supposed to have your guns if you're not accessible to them within 10 feet, isn't it? I think something like that. You're supposed to lock them up in a safe, isn't that it? You're supposed to have all your guns locked up in a safe unless the one you got within your hand.
If you're dumb enough to open my door.
Yeah.
What can I say about that? So, but my child has access and knowledge and skill. It's not what kind of an idiot am I with a 9-year-old. It's no, my child has been trained for years how to handle guns appropriately.
Right.
We are delving into other things like archery. There are no restrictions on archery to speak of.
Right.
Nobody cares if you're carrying a bow around town or and a pack of arrows. Never mind the fact blunt tips don't exist anymore. I haven't been able to find a blunt tip. They're all field targets. So they're all these little pokey things. They will absolutely go through you.
Yep.
And even a 20-pound bow will hurt a lot. And it'll hurt even more when you're taking them out of the ER.
Oh, yeah. That
you know-
would be very painful. Yes, a bow to go through you. I think I'd rather be shot at that point.
I think I'd rather be dead because
Yeah.
I'm going to be really embarrassed when I'm explaining to the ER doctors and nurses that I was stupid. And a 9-year-old shot me with an arrow.
My 9-year-old shot me with an arrow.
So it's just one of those things. Not everybody's going to understand this, and but if they want to, you'd be happy to just look me up on Facebook. I would be happy to take you to a gun range and explain to you exactly why I do exactly what I did with my child, and I will show you how it works, and we will do it in such a way that it is safe and sane, and then you can go and have one of those I'm so traumatized moments after the fact. But
yeah.
you know,
Hey, I got to change the subject
That was
here. We
2
gotta
hours
keep
ago,
moving on.
so let's
Yeah.
move on and do something else. So what is the Cato Institute, and why are you talking about it?
So because I had Leon on here, and I thought this was kind of interesting. I've actually written for Cato, and I've had Aliyah Shapiro on the show several times when I had the radio show. And like I said, on different issues, I fall down on the libertarian. Sometimes I fall down on the conservative side. But there's a lot of people who really don't know the difference between libertarianism and conservatism. Boy, try to say that. Conservatism. People don't realize there's a difference between libertarianism and conservatism. And the main difference is on a social level. I'll give you an example. I'm one of those who believes all drugs should be legalized. Most conservatives think that no drugs should be legalized or very few drugs should be legalized. I'm one of those who believes that that kids are perfectly capable of handling firearms, and conservatives might not believe that. Conservatives are usually more they're more socially they're more religious than most libertarians. Not saying there's not very many Christian religious people. I'll give you an example. A lot of my conservative friends, they want to impose prayer in school. A lot of my conservative friends want to impose having to say the Pledge of Allegiance in school. They think kids should be forced to do that. I'm one of those who I think people have different beliefs and shouldn't be compelled to have any kind of speech like that. And that's one of those things that's different between.
I don't do it anymore, but I know the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to teach my kid about it, but I'm never going to require him to say the Pledge of Allegiance because, well, knowing what I know now about things, it reminds me of the skinny mustache guy in Germany, Austria.
Well, actually, the gentleman who wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, his name was Francis Bellamy, and the reason that he wrote it is that him and a relative of his was trying to start a national school based on National Socialism, and they wanted to compel the students to take a loyalty oath, and the original pledge didn't even have the word God in it, and it wasn't until the McCarthy era when they forced the word God into it and then compelled children to say it. And the reason they wanted this to happen is because they were on a witch hunt towards all the communists. We have all those godless atheist communists out there, so we're going to make sure that their children recognize God because we're going to put that in our pledge, and then we're going to force our kids to say this pledge. And then 3 Mormon children said, we don't believe in that because we're Mormons and our religion.
Oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses never
They're
say
the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's it. The Jehovah's Witnesses, the 3 kids, and they sued, and they won in the Supreme Court, and that ended compulsory Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm totally supportive of that because it's a National Socialist pledge. I personally would rather sing the national anthem because it was written about a beautiful moment during the Revolutionary War and our battle for freedom. I would much rather sing that than
1812. It was 1812.
1812.
Yeah.
Yeah.
War of 1812.
One of the worst battles ever. They talk about him, Francis Scott Key, when he was on the boat because he was being held prisoner, and that's when he was writing the song. He could see he was talking about the bodies that were lined up around the flag in the fort that were just building up around the flag. In really incredible stuff if you read the writing of the Star Spangled Banner. But the Pledge of Allegiance is crap, and I don't think people realize it. And I'm going to take all kinds of shit for saying that.
So is our government-run factory schooling. That was it's the same concept. Guy named Dewey created it, and I can't remember where he was from. I think Germany or someplace like that. But
yeah.
The entire point was to there's 2 points. The first one was to institutionalize factory workers. That's why I call them factory schools. The idea that you're only going to take a break when you're told to, you're only going to eat within a certain amount of time. Those are ideas that are based on the Industrial Revolution. And
right.
We don't have that in this nation anymore, but we still utilize that. You only get to take a 10-minute break every 2 hours or something like that, and you have to have a 30-minute lunch, and those things that are required by law. Well, they're based on that concept of you get to have recess. 10-minute recess. Here you go. So factory schooling that was the first part. The second part was that you could indoctrinate everyone.
Right.
Because
which is what they've done.
And the parents aren't there. They can't stop you. And I'm going to tell you right now, I practice what I preach. My kid is homeschooled.
That's good.
I was a little curious about Kotek saying, "Oh, we made this great thing. We're banning cell phones in schools," and I'm like, "Is it so that they?" Well, let me
Article
finish.
168.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, but I mean, my question was: are they doing this? Are they doing this such that they want the students to pay more attention, or are they doing this to make sure the students aren't like narking on them, going, my instructor is doing DEI, my instructor is trying to groom me, they are doing these, we've got porn in schools now. They don't want kids having records of that, so that's why they're getting rid of cell phones, not to make them more attentive students. They just basically want them to not have the ability to get evidence on their teachers and principals and whatever now. So that's the way I looked at it.
Good point.
I would say, both of those are legitimate excuses. However, neither of them are conscionable. Conscionable means you can't enforce it, because Article 1, Section 8 of our Oregon Constitution says that we have the freedom to express ourselves, to speak. And
since when has the Constitution been in Oregon been, when do they enforce it?
Yeah.
They're not enforcing it anymore.
If you're armed, it's not a problem.
Right.
Now here's where the next. Yeah, I'm coming back to this. The kind of you can't be oppressed. Minorities are really hard to oppress if they're armed. So that's the real reason they want gun control.
Well, that's just the thing. If we weren't armed, can you imagine what they would be doing to us right now?
Yes.
And here's the worst part about schools. Here's the worst part about public schools is that they have taken our most primal, basic nature, our sexuality, and they're weaponizing it against our own children. And I see this happening all the time where they're taking children who are confused or maybe not even confused, but just may have curiosities. You know what I mean? And they use that against these kids in this whole LGBTQ movement. And I've had gay friends. I know trannies. I have no problem. I've got good friends who are of all kinds of sexualities, sexual denominations, I guess you could call it that. But you know what I mean?
I identify as bisexual. I don't do anything about it, but I identify. Because
I identify as a woman, but my woman's a lesbian.
I'm a lesbian in man's bodies.
In a man's
I'm
body.
a lesbian in a man's body because I'm
Hey,
just, I'm really attracted to women.
I identify as a queen. You shall actually call me queen. from now on.
My pronoun is sir.
Yeah, pronouns are Lord and Master. Yes.
Yeah.
My
I'm not
pronoun
making
is-
a joke. These are actually things. It's not just jest. My pronoun is sir. Well, if you want to call me something, my pronoun is sir.
I'll
Period.
stick with Leon.
And Leon's fine. You can call me by my name. I've answered to a lot of other things too. It's not like I'm requiring you to do that. But if you're asking me my pronoun, it's sir.
You got called a lot of names on my show. I was like, wow, you've been through quite a few of them.
Well, anytime that you have an idea that flies in the face of somebody's paradigm, they either have to shift it or they're going to vilify you. That's how
Right.
it works. So
I'm surprised I'm not taking it now for my comment against the Pledge of Allegiance. I stand, and I will stand politely for the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't recite anything. I don't say anything, but I don't know.
I do that watermelon thing that if you don't know the words to a song, you're supposed to go live. Right?
Oh, that's fun.
Watermelon.
I didn't know
I'll
that.
do that, but I won't
See.
do it. And I've been a sports official for high school sports for the last couple of years. So I'm in these positions where I am literally mouthing watermelon because they don't have somebody to sing the national anthem at a soccer game. Okay, well, I don't have to say it. I put my hand on my my hat over my heart, and I watermelon, so that looks like I'm doing something. But when the guy who's standing in front of me turns around, he just looks at me like, "What are you doing?"
I'm
like-
one of those. I like to
Yeah.
sing loud and obnoxious when I do the national anthem because I'm proud about it. I want to sing this song, and so I butcher the hell out of it because I'm a lousy singer. And so I feel like maybe I shouldn't be singing it because I'm butchering the hell out of it.
Well, but if you sing it with conviction and passion, then that's
Yeah.
fine. Who cares? Who cares if you're out of key, so long as you're not standing next to me?
Well, it's a
Who
hard
cares if
freaking
you're out-
song to sing.
It is. It's-
Let me give you an.
it's-
I'm sorry, Mark.
it's- Oh, but it's also the it's like, okay, I'm fine with singing the national anthem, and other than the fact that it runs all over the place as far as keys and stuff, but the Pledge of Allegiance, it's not so much that I'm like confessing fealty or as you said, the oath. I'm mostly just sort of remembering what it was like to say that in the second grade and the third grade, because that's how we start the day. And it's for me, it's nostalgia. So, I'm not, it's more of a, back then I thought the United States was great. I thought everybody, all our politicians were working for us, and things were prosperous. It was the mid 60s. Everything was great. And then I got older and wiser and less naive, and now it's like, now I say it because it's like, yeah, I'm just being nostalgic for a time that will never exist again, because I know too much about how the sausage is made. So
Yeah, that's the scary part. Once you see how the sausage is made, you can't unsee that.
can't unsee
That's-
it.
I have a really good example for the conversation that we were having with libertarianism versus conservatism, and
Okay.
throughout the liberalism thing here too, just because. So, House Bill 3542 was it was an Oregon House Bill 3542. It died in committee. It was the lane filtering thing for motorcycles. I make my living as a motorcycle courier. I'm on my motorcycle 700 to 800. I need another oil change. To kind of give you an idea, the law that we're talking about, for those who want to look it up, it's ORS 814.240.
The lane cutting law, where you get to drive down between the cars on the dotted line.
All they need to do is delete that law. They don't need to put anything else in there. They just need to delete it, because the people who are riding motorcycles are, if you just let them choose, they're mostly going to stay in the lane. The times that they're not going to is when, like, between 4 and 5:30 on the belt line, when everybody's pounding on their brakes. No, the motorcyclists are just going to go down the middle, because we're trying to get through, and The guy behind us is not paying attention. He's looking at his phone, trying to figure out how long it's going to take him to get home because it's time to go home and he's hungry. He's not looking at us. He can't see us on our motorcycles. We just want to get home alive. So we'll go, and the reality of it is this: is the ones that are getting away with it are just doing it. So it's not like the law is stopping anything. They took all the teeth out of not having your turn signals working, your lights working a few years ago. That's a perfect one. The only reason that exists is because of prohibition. The reason that they created it for prohibition was because the IRS needed an excuse to stop people so they could find a reason to search them and catch the bootleggers.
Yep.
They kept it because they discovered that they could bust out a black guy's tail light and pull him over for it and hassle him. And then they kept it even longer, even more once they did the war on drugs, because now they have a reason to stop you, so they can find a reason to search you.
And that used to crack me up. They would stop people, like you said, for a headlight out, and I can understand why they might think it's dangerous, but like you said, it's for probable cause. In most cases, it's just for probable cause. And but the thing is that the people who have a headlight out, they want to replace that headlight. They would love to change that headlight, but they probably can't afford it. And probably, if you look at it, the car is a piece of crap. I know this because when I was young and 20, I remember getting pulled over for a headlight, and I remember telling the officer, I'm going to work and coming back to work, so eventually I can afford a freaking headlight. Now you give me a ticket, I got to pay the ticket. Guess what? It's going to take me another couple of weeks.
I can't afford the headlight now because I have to pay this ticket.
Yeah.
So
infinite loop.
If we deleted laws, just straight up said, okay, we don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
The laws regarding speed limits had nothing to do with speed. It had everything to do with serving fuel. Get rid of the speed laws. Stop pulling people over for going faster than somebody else. Get out of the left lane. The left lane is for felonies, period. Just stay out of the left lane unless you're going 180 miles an hour. Okay, maybe not that fast. But you get the point. People don't know you. They don't have any concern for you. They're more concerned over their morning coffee and their what do you want to call it? Their McMuffin in the morning. They have no concern for you. Why would you expect them to have concern? Just get out of the way and let people do their thing. And if the cost is a fine, if the only penalty is a fine, then that law is still legal if you can afford the fine. It's just a tax on the thing you're doing. So why even bother enforcing this stuff? You have a law enforcement community that no longer has the confidence of the people. They've
And there was a place in, I forget which country in Europe, that there was a town that got rid of all of its stop signs, its stop lights. They got rid of all the laws regarding driving on the freeway, except for one. If you get into an accident and you get into more accidents, we stop you from stop or take away your license at that point.
Yeah, because of damage. That's damage, right? When you don't cause damage. So when you go to court, what do you have to list? You have to list the damage that's caused to you, right? But if there's no damage, why are you being pulled over? Why are you getting a ticket? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, have you ever seen that movie? What is it where they have thought crimes?
Yeah.
They replace
Minority Report.
Yeah,
Minority
Report. It's to me, getting pulled over for an infraction or for not replacing a part or for not doing whatever, that is a thought crime. To me, that's a thought crime. I'm sorry.
They don't even call it a crime. It's a moving violation. So if it's not, if you're not, yeah. I am a moving violation.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna tell
that's
you
my
right now.
dance moves. I am a moving violation.
That definitely was a violation. But what you were talking about, Leon, on the highways, and John Stossel used to talk about this. There's the concept of spontaneous order,
We still talk
and
about that.
yeah, and just like fish, school of fish swimming in the ocean, there's no one directing the traffic in the ocean, and yet fish are able to swim around and not running into each other and beat up each other by running into each other because they swim and there's spontaneous order because they are trying to avoid each other. They're paying more attention because there's not so many of these safety guidelines that you start thinking, well, if there's safety guidelines, I must be safe. When in fact, that when there's no guidelines, you have to be more attentive. In fact, I think we put too much on safety, and there's a lot of jobs out there who they're dangerous, but there's too much regulation as far as safety issues.
Well, don't get me started. Don't get me started on safety features in cars nowadays, where it's like, oh, we'll keep you in your lane, and we'll make sure that you're this far away from the car in
Exactly.
front of you. And I'm like, I had to go through like 3 rental cars. I took a trip to Erie Canal, and we're jumping all over the place because we're riding bikes, and then we have to transport bikes from point A to point B, and so I had 3 different rental cars, all of them brand new. One of them was a truck. And they had so many freaking features that were supposed to be helpful. And it would be like, okay, well, it says that you're deviating out of your lane. It would grab the steering wheel and turn the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't like that. That is not, for me, that's not safety. That's like, you're going to freak me out and have me drive right off the freaking road is what you're going to get me to do with that.
So yeah, some of those. One of the laws that I think should go away is the law that requires insurance, because if you're stuck paying for somebody else's car, you can't have your car because your car is totaled because you ran into the back of them. So now you can't drive, which means now you're not a safety hazard because you don't know how to drive right, and you keep crashing into people. So if you don't have insurance, it doesn't replace your car, and you're on the hook to replace somebody else's car, then that makes a lot of sense to me not to have insurance. It just does. So if we got rid of the insurance laws, if we stopped pulling people over, it basically any time that the government is the victim, that's not a crime, that's a tax, and that should be abolished. So because the only thing that it does at that point is pump the numbers up for that law enforcement community that nobody trusts anymore. If nobody trusts,
right. And the best book that I've ever seen encapsulate that is Frederick Bastiat, and the law.
Yes.
Yeah. And basically, there are only 2 crimes: a crime of force and a crime of fraud. And if there's no victim, there really was no crime, because you have to have force or fraud for someone to actually have been violated or had their rights violated.
If we went back to that, then we would have a law-abiding communities again. And we don't have law-abiding communities anymore because there are so many laws that are broken every moment of the day. I can walk out the door and break 3.
Right. Well, you just mentioned one you're breaking right now, and I'm breaking the same law. So, when you were talking about the guns. So, what the hell, man? And really not, because the law is unconstitutional, because we have a constitution that overrides all those silly, unnecessary laws.
Yeah, and if you're of the mindset that all these laws are, a lot of these laws are ridiculous, and one of the things that somebody was trying to do one time was called the broken window policy, where it's like, or turnstile jumpers. It's like it gets to a certain point where you see all these small offenses that there's nothing to be, there's nothing done about them, and at that point you go, well, then why am I even trying? I mean, right. And it's like if you have like all these little, if you can break 3 laws just by walking out your front door, you're like, well, what the hell? As you were saying earlier, it's like, well, I kept getting accused of cheating, so I'm already paying the price. What's the extra cost of actually going out and cheating? And that's why we have a lot of people that aren't, are kind of scoff laws, or
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of laws that I've quit following. I consciously quit following simply because of
seatbelt law. I haven't put a seatbelt on in quite a while, and because it hurts the hell out of my shoulder. I did something to my shoulder, and every time I wear the seatbelt, it's painful. And I'm willing to fight this. You know what I mean? And I'm willing to fight this and pay the penalty because I'm tired of being told to strap myself in my own freaking car. And if it's painful and uncomfortable, I shouldn't have to do it because nobody can get hurt from me not wearing a seatbelt. That's the most fucked up law out there, is if there's no way I can hurt anyone else doing what I'm doing in my car, leave me the hell alone. And the seatbelt
Like wearing
law
a mask in your car by yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to quote Ben Franklin, if that's okay.
Yeah. We'll let you
Those
go.
who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Yeah.
So
Truer now than ever before.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the topic that we're on. And Marbury versus Madison, too, also comes to mind, where any law that is repugnant to the Constitution is therefore null and void. I have my firearm right on the table as you walk into my living room. I dare anyone to walk in my house because they're getting that firearm right up their nose.
Right.
So, sorry, I know it's 10 feet away from me, but
Yeah. Well, it's either that or the attack cat. I'd worry more about the attack cat than the firearm, but that's just me. Cause
and I have quite a few.
So, Leon, I don't care if you do that, but that right there, you doing that, because this is a live feed. YouTube, if they recognize that, the AI recognizes that as a gun, it will stop the reel right off the bat.
It won't. It's blue.
That's cool. I didn't realize that you could fool it.
I have a joke.
Okay.
This is part of the joke. So, do you know the names for the Pac-Man ghosts?
Inky, Blinky, Stinky, and Winky. I don't know.
Inky,
Pinky is one.
Pinky is one.
Yeah.
Inky is the blue one.
Looks like he's. Oh, okay.
Blinky is the red one. Pinky is the pink one.
Okay.
And Clyde is the orange one. So I have.
Clyde's the orange one. Okay.
Yeah. I started when this is the height of you couldn't get anything, but I could get parts. So I built because I can pass a background check, but I couldn't get. It took a month for them to go through to get around to approve the background check. In the meantime, I built two, right? One of them is Inky, and one of them is Blinky, and Blinky is red, and Pinky is blue, and they are both straight wall cartridges, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But they're little ghosties, right? And I also have Casper and Slimer. And
oh, nice.
Casper is my friendly, and Slimer is not so friendly. So,
nice.
Okay.
They have completely different paint jobs on them. But I miss my AVN Stars account because AVN thought it was hilarious that I was putting gun building on their platform, and they got attacked by the banks and shut it down.
Oh shit!
AVN Stars was like OnlyFans. It's purely adult content, but I was able to charge people to watch.
I was wondering when you were talking about AVN. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking,
they thought it was hilarious.
Video network.
Yeah.
So you're on there building guns with your. Yeah. This is what I'm into, man.
There are some. I have an acquaintance in New York.
Yeah.
Her name is her.
Oh, that is so funny. Building guns on AVN. That is.
She put 3D printing on Pornhub. 3D printing guns.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was, and to this day, I think it's still there. I don't spend time on Pornhub, so I don't know. But she was for a long time. That was what we were bragging about, because here's the directions on how to 3D print this thing, and so that's what they were doing. Is they were doing assembly stuff in the most interesting places. AVN thought it was hilarious, and they promoted me when I talked about it on Twitter. They every single time I said something about what I was doing on AVN Stars, they would retweet
That's
that.
hilarious. That is so funny.
I'm not on Twitter anymore. I got banned for telling a guy that the reason I armed my child was so that he could direct him to the wood chipper, and that's what I got banned for.
Damn, I guess the truth hurts. So I'm sponsored, and I support this business here, 3H Tree Service. They're a bunch of good guys. They love their guns too. They have a lot of guns
wood
too.
chippers. They have a lot of wood chippers as well.
Yeah.
Hey, wood chipper. How many pedos can they get through those wood chippers an hour?
Well, actually, I think I even got a video of that. Let's see. Do I still have that? Yeah, I think I do. Let me see here.
I'll be the last one when the lights go out. I'm down to one last breath, but I can't stop now. We all fall down sometimes, yeah, but that's just life. So cross my heart and hope to die. Baby, I was born to fight the fear when I feel like dying. I'm trying to fly high, but I'm not a pilot, can't deny it. There's some days I feel idiotic, just a product of a system where you're lucky just to make a dollar. That ain't gonna stop me cause my grind's contagious. Do what it takes to turn passion to paychecks. And if I go down, I'ma do it on my terms. And every single problem is a lesson that I learned. The darkest night, when things seem so broken.
I just love that. Cutting down trees and creating scenery, that's a beautiful damn thing.
And they have a trailer for their chipper. How very nice. It's portable. You can take it to them. Why bring the pedo to you when you can take the chipper to the pedo?
To the pedo. I know. Maybe I should call Matt. We set up this whole business, of course on the download. Yeah, you come. We'll call you up and you come out and we'll just take care of that.
Call 811 first.
Yeah, 811 first. But you can call 541-294-1800 3H Tree Service if you would like to get rid of those liability trees. Let's say they're trees that are infested with bugs and they've got disease and they're a liability. In fact, we call them Antifa trees because at any moment they might start fire. So that's what 3H Tree Service is all about, getting rid of those liabilities that can fall in your car, your roof, or whatever. They take care of the problem. And remember, every Monday, we do play 3H Tree Service. Where's 3H Tree Service? As you can see, there's Jody Hoffman. He won his $50. And there's Nancy. I don't think we'll be playing this Monday, but we do play on a regular basis. You like how I do that? I throw those commercials in right in the middle of the conversation. And then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Was that a freaking commercial?
But wait, there's more commercials and there are more sponsors. So
There
let's
are.
light 'em up now.
There are. And of course, I'm sponsored by Tom and Gigs. Tim and Shanna over at Tom and Gigs, they do a hell of a job. And if you need struts, tires, alignments, they do a great job on their alignment. Let me tell you, I got my car aligned there. Great job, Tim. You did a great job on my car. He always does a great job. And they can get you in and take care of you. Say you're going on a trip, they can inspect your car, make sure it's travel worthy. And they also have all kinds of neat stuff there. You can get cars, RC cars. Look at that guy right there. Yeah, he can tell you anything you want to know about those cars.
All kind of cars, big cars and little cars. If you have cars and you're in the Empire area, well, that's the one-stop shop. That's Tom and Gigs.
Tom and Gigs.
And not only cars, but they have trucks and airplanes and a Hero-copter.
So you see this Hero-copter, Leon. I was going to fly that over all the drug-addled homeless people. I shouldn't call them homeless. These are the street criminals that I know down here. And I was going to see if they really fall for that being a police helicopter. Look, man, it's a police helicopter. I just don't understand. It looks really small. Maybe it's just far away. I don't know.
What kind of drugs do
Does it
you
have
do
a
in that
siren?
helicopter?
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
we could probably fit it with one. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we could put a siren on that.
Dude, you totally should.
I think that you should go with something that goes because that'll be much more effective than the siren ever would.
Yeah, you're probably true. They'd
Well,
actually probably see the police and go, "Oh, don't worry, they're just going to ticket us here in Coos County."
Yeah,
That's-
or if you can get an RC H10 Warthog, that would be nice. And then you can get the real. Brrr.
Yeah, but that's too expensive.
That is a little pricey.
You need
But they do sell tannerite there. You can get tannerite. See, so you get the remote control helicopter. You attach it with the tannerite. I'm just putting ideas out there, and
we're just spitballing here. Yeah.
the spitballing.
These are just ideas. They are not recommendations. And
Yes.
when should you do this at home?
And remember, you have to be 18 years or older to purchase tannerite, and you will be asked for ID. So yeah, that's and you're gonna love this, Leon. Not only am I sponsored by a great tree trimming service and a great auto service company, but I also am sponsored by Herbal Choices, one of the best marijuana dispensaries on the southern coast. I highly recommend Herbal Choices. Normally, I'm drinking one of their sodas, but I've been so busy, I haven't had time to imbibe. I tell you what, I'm sober. That's scary.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sober too. I mean, how often does that happen?
I have so much wine here, you guys. I wish I could just send you each like bottles of wine because I have.
We're going to Samantha's next time. We're going to Douglas County.
Yeah, we're doing the show from Samantha's next time. We'll be like knee deep in wine on that one.
So I have a secret. So my bestie that she's been my bestie since high school, right? Since junior high. And before she got married, she loved to come over and we would have girls' nights. But we would buy so much liquor. But every time she came over, it was like wine and liquor. And this is hard liquor and mixes and drinks. And we were such lightweights that we would get to like list on the, because she would have lists, right, that we would buy all this stuff for all these mixed drinks, like maybe 10 mixed drinks, right, in one night. We would get to like the number 2 on the list and we'd both be like
and that's why you got all that alcohol.
Yeah.
It's stored in my other, I have another refrigerator in the garage. It's stored in there. Like there's tons of it.
The nice thing about alcohol is it doesn't go bad. That's wonderful thing about it. And it only gets better with age. So just like me, I am the human. But Herbal Choices, they remember you can find out more about the Herbal Choices store by herbalchoices.com. And remember, you must be 21 years or older. You can be 18 to buy the tannerite, but you have to be 21 to buy the pot. Okay, just
and they have five easy locations to serve you all over the Coos Bay area. As a matter of fact, they have a place in Reedsport. They have a place in Coos Bay. They have a place in Bandon. And I bet on the next slide, if I can remember
I can't click it fast enough.
And if you can advance the slide, I can tell you the other 2. Oh wait, there it is. North Bend and Charleston. Now there's
their
some
customers are
radio
used to
work
this
right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their customers are going, wow, they must have gone to the cannabis store. Herbal Choices. And here you're going to love this. And of course, I always have to endorse my good friend over at OFF, Kevin Starrett from Oregon's Firearm Federation, because as a libertarian, I not only believe in your right to smoke dope, I believe in your right to own a gun. So there you go.
Yeah, I just wish he would have talked to me.
Who would have talked to you?
Kevin.
Oh, yeah. He isn't giving anyone endorsements.
I wouldn't care if he wanted an endorsement. All I wanted him to do was acknowledge my existence. He wouldn't even do that. I did not go for endorsements either.
Oh, okay.
But so one of the things I know what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. One of the things that bothers me is that they keep doing it at the federal level, and I think they should do it at the state level, and I think they should do it in the hardest places possible because that's going to be the easiest. I think they should put their lawsuits in Multnomah and Lane and Marion counties at the state level against the state constitution, because the state constitution is more restrictive and more freedom than our federal constitution. I keep saying things like Article 1, Section 8. I spent a lot of time paying attention to the state constitution when I was running because it was kind of important. They actually separated church and state and freedom of speech and all of those things. So we get to freedom of speech through section Article 1, Section 8. There are 7 other sections that deal with other elements of speech, but that's the one that talks about our freedom of speech. So we have the freedom of religion that's separated, and the religion and the state can't be the same, and stuff like that. Anyway, it also says that anyone who is inside the borders of the state is a citizen of the state. They don't have to live here; they're just here. They come across from Idaho, they come across from Washington, Nevada, California. It says that they are a citizen of the state at that point in time. Then they leave and not a citizen. Hey, look, I like the
Band and Gun Club. They got a 5-stand trap shoot, which is really cool. That thing is cool. And they've got a pistol range out there, and new members are welcome. And you can find out more at thebandandgunclub.org, because we like our guns out here in Bandon. And if you want to sight in your rifle, they don't have a rifle range at Band and Gun Club, but they do have one at Tioga Sports Park. And neither of these groups or neither of these organizations are my sponsors, but I like to promote them because I like to think that people are out there, if they're going to own firearms, they're teaching themselves or having people teach them how to use them, and they're practicing with them. And you can find out more at tiogasportspark.org. You go shooting at the range, or you got shooting on your property? You got property to shoot on?
I don't have property. I got spoiled. I was a member of the Big Timber Rifle and Pistol Club in Siletz, and they have a 500-meter range, and I loved 500 meters. 500 meters. I got one. I've got a Schmidt Rubin 1896. It's converted to a 1911 that I can ring steel with iron sights.
Oh, that's cool.
All freaking day, just bang, bang, bang. It got to the point where it was boring, and I was trying to mix it up. But I can't find anything over 200 meters in Lake, and I'm dying for some distance. Gonna have to go buy a loophole scope so I can go out to their facility.
There you go, and that happens.
Well, whoever wants to go shooting on my property is welcome. So I have 5 acres. I have great hills and dirt in the background, so the bullets just go right in the dirt.
Nice.
It's supposed to.
Yeah, let me know if you guys want to go shooting. I have extra targets.
That's good to know. That is very good to know.
I'm a big fan of using like milk jugs, not the gallon ones, like the half-gallon jugs, half-gallon, the quart, pint. Something I did with my kid. Fill them with water, you put food coloring in them, then they can see that they hit it.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they explode, which is fun, and they put out any sparks that might fly.
What do you say about sparks?
They put out the sparks that might fly all at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Because it's full of water.
Yeah.
So, that's something my kid and I like to do, but you
Cool.
can't do that just anywhere now.
Well, boy, then you're gonna have a lot of fun next time you come out here. If you ever come out here, let us know. We'll get the tannerite out, and we'll go have some fun. I've got a few people who we got some land, and we can make a lot of noise. We can turn a lot of money into a lot of noise. So this group here, Coos County Neighborhood Watch, you know how you were talking about how you keep homeless people off your property? We do the same thing here. There's groups of us who patrol the county. I patrol Bandon here. Sometimes I go help in other areas and stuff. And people will contact us sometimes and tell us about people who are on their property camping and causing problems. And because it's private property, we'll go on there and get them the hell off. And we're not very polite about it. And we believe in kind of the motto that you were saying, but ours is don't be a cuck. Take your neighborhood back. That's our motto. Don't be a cuck. Take your neighborhood back. And we get that from the best quote ever from Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper. He says here, if violent crime is to be curbed, it is only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the policy. The police. He fears neither judge nor jury. Therefore, what he must be taught to fear is his victim. Don't be a cuck. That's the moral of the story. And so that's why I recommend people join Coos County Neighborhood Watch. And like I said, I'm not shitting you guys. When I get up in the morning, this is one of the first places I go to find out what's been happening in my neighborhood and other people's neighborhoods, because these guys, unlike the police or law enforcement or government, they can actually tell you in live time what crime is happening or has happened in your area. And we have seen people put posts up, and within 20 minutes, they have caught people. Porch pirates. There have been people complaining about porch pirates, and someone's been able to go out and catch the porch pirate before they were able to get out of the neighborhood. That's how cool this is.
Very cool. So, Rob, really fast. You're not done with the, okay.
No, let's go ahead. We're all right.
I was going to say, before we get off, you had mentioned very early on about the Epstein list. And I told you that I have some happy news for you.
Okay.
Well, so Trump does things so that way Democrats get on board, and other people kind of do a little bit of his job. So guess what Ron Wyden did? Did you see what he found?
Mm-mm.
You didn't? Oh.
Yeah, 4,000.
Yeah, see, he was like, I don't understand why Trump actually considers it a hoax. It's not a hoax. Here, let me do some work for you. And he undug things, and he found $1.1 billion with the Jeffrey Epstein Fund. And he's uncovering stuff for Trump because he just wants to tell Trump that it's not a hoax. Hello?
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, so last week, Leon, we were talking about different reasons why Trump is pussing out on this whole Epstein thing, you know, and I'm mad at you people for still being interested in this. Why are you interested in this, you know? And I think we came up with 5 different reasons why he was doing what he's doing.
Pretty much 5 different reasons.
6.
Yeah.
This is now 6 different reasons. Interesting.
No, he's got a lot of people.
He's getting Democrats to do his work and uncover their own crimes. You know, Wyden's come on.
Oh,
yeah.
You know?
Well,
I would be a bit surprised to find him on the list, but here he is, digging it up for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
That
funny
would be great.
when he posted that on X, and he said, there's 4,150 transfers of money, totaling $1.1 billion to Jeffrey Epstein. And then I posted right after that, I said, and yet you have 26,353 donations from Act Blue. You shouldn't, people in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones there, Ron, Mr. I don't even live in freaking Oregon.
So this is the funny thing.
Let him do it. He'll uncover it. He'll do.
Yeah, but look, the story is on OPB. Isn't that the irony there is just too thick to cut.
Yeah, for real. Like this, they're digging their own graves. It's so fun. It's so cool.
Well, I can tell you, I know who's not on the list. Me and Marty, we're not on that list. I can guarantee you.
Right?
I don't know about Leon. I don't know him that well. But me and Marty, we're good.
I wasn't old enough, didn't have the right body type.
Yeah.
But Trump, just by Trump saying that something is a hoax, do you realize that that's what's causing this? You know, like it's causing all these Democrats that are Trump haters like, oh yeah. I don't know why you said it's a hoax. Here, I'll show you. It's not a hoax.
Okay, Leon, I got to hear your theory on this.
I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised to find Wyden on it. I would not be a bit surprised to find Trump on it. Okay, I'm not going to be surprised to find all of them on it.
Do you know what the Global Magnitsky Act is?
The what?
The Global Magnitsky Act.
No.
So very early on, Trump and Melania and Trump's daughter all vowed to get rid of child sex trafficking. And they are actually, the Executive Order 13818 is a big, huge part of it. Now, Global Magnitsky Act is actually human rights abuses all over the world. So Trump is actually getting rid of human rights abusers all over the world. And not only that, he is using our treasury and our military to actually seize assets from those that are abusing human rights. So I don't think Trump is on the list. I think he's taunting the ones that are on the list, and I think he's trying to get them to dig their own grave.
Well, wait a minute. All four of us have now. All four of us. If I get this right, let me get a consensus here. All four of us think there is actually a list, right?
Well, there are bushels and bushels and bushels and bushels of incriminating evidence. Now, whether there's an actual list, don't know.
I agree. I agree with
I've seen the flight logs for the Lolita Express. That's a list. I can tell you all the names that are on that, and I don't reveal that because, well, first off, who the hell cares? And secondly, it's not provable. I could have just written it myself. So But anyway, the whole point is that Pam Bondi is just said. I mean, just in the District Court of the Southern District of New York, there's a motion now to unseal all grand jury transcripts regarding Jeffrey Epstein. So the whole point is there's been investigations going on, and the problem is when they do these things, they don't announce. I mean, they don't announce when they're doing a criminal investigation. Oh, by the way, we're going after Alan Dershowitz. Oh, by the way, we're going after Wyden. Oh, by the way, we're going after Adam Schiff. No, they don't do any of that. They collect their evidence. They convene a grand jury. They seal all this stuff, and then at some point. So when he said stop talking about it, the whole idea is to get everybody in the world and their pet dog, especially the Democrats and all the influencers, quote unquote, on social media that have been sort of MAGA guys. All of a sudden, they're all screaming, "Oh, we got to see the Epstein stuff. Trump must be a pedo. Oh, it's all a hoax. He says it's a hoax. It's not a hoax. There's so much stuff." And now, all of a sudden, everybody in the world and their pet dog is actually paying attention to this. And now they're releasing the United States' motion to unseal the grand jury transcripts. So
it's brilliant. Trump is a freaking genius. I'm sorry, but he is a genius. I mean, this is how you get shit done.
I'm in the wait and see category. Leon, where are you at?
I'm. So there's two problems. Number one, if it doesn't exist, then why did he kill himself if there's no evidence to convict him?
Did he though? Or
he's not dead.
Or
he's dead either way. Why would he be dead if there's no evidence to convict him? And then
is he dead?
Ghislaine Maxwell is currently incarcerated. We don't know where because she states evidence at this point.
Right.
So if those two, if there's no list, how
evidence? There's evidence.
How is there well, the list would be evidence.
Not necessarily. So let's say police come to my house and they find a dead person at my house. That doesn't mean I killed them, right? It's a dead person. So where's the evidence? They need to find the evidence that I actually murdered that person. What if they just had a heart attack? And I'm like, oh, it's a heart attack. Oh,
Okay. I used this last week. There's a list. It's the same type of list that put Al Capone in prison. Remember when they found the list, Marty? I was telling you about that last week. For tax evasion, they found a list of all the people who were giving him money and where he was making money. That was the list. And sure, it wasn't a list of, these are the people who, are the criminals, the bad guys. But there is a list because they have to know who was doing what and what we had on who. You know what I mean? Every drug dealer has a list. And even though nobody would really want to admit that, but the drug dealers have a list because they have to know, oh, Johnny here, he owes me $20. Tammy, she owes me $100. You know what I mean? They all have lists. All criminals do this who are in the money business.
There has to be some sort of transaction record, whether the transaction is in favors or money.
Yep.
That has to exist. That means there's a list. There's a list somewhere. And two people were being charged with that list as evidence.
Mhm.
We know this. This is how the system works. So saying that if we're gonna unseal the grand jury stuff, the problem isn't that the problem isn't that he's doing this. The problem here is that this stuff started when he was in office to begin with. That's where the problem is.
What stuff started?
The Epstein case started when he was in.
No, it goes way back further
bad
than
thing?
that.
Oh, it goes
further,
way-
but
Next 20
was
years.
custody.
I mean, he got caught during Trump's presidency. So Maxwell
Why
got
didn't-
caught during Trump's presidency.
No, he
Epstein
got caught. He got caught in Florida. Wasn't it Florida? He got
Yeah,
prosecuted
he was
in Florida.
He
That's
got
true, that's
prosecuted in Florida, and then the same judge that went after Trump for some other stuff
Right.
basically said, "Oh, you know, we're letting Epstein go. You know, we'll just give him time served."
Sessions. Yeah.
And
Because he was an operative. Let's face it, he was an operative, and those girls were honeypots, and that's why people like the prince, that royalty guy in England, that he's on the list, and I can guarantee you there are plenty others. You've got Mossad agents who are on the list. You've got Arab princesses who are on the list. That's why we don't see the list.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw some stuff out for you guys. Okay, who got caught when Trump was president, right? Or as he was president, right? So Maxwell, Epstein, Weinstein. I mean, and
Weinstein was a different issue.
huh?
Harvey Weinstein was a different issue. He was doing stuff to people who were supposed to be working for him.
Right.
Okay, well, so all of these human rights abusers got caught while Trump was president. Now, let's go deaths, okay? Who died? McCain, George Bush Sr. when Trump was president, right? Who was that justice, that old lady that died?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah, and Boxer. So like, okay, so all these people had wrinkled flags on their things. What does
Coffins?
wrinkled flags mean?
Couldn't tell you.
I have no idea where you're going with this, Samantha.
This is too deep for my blood. I don't know.
I know we're getting too deep. It's getting too late. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay,
You're talking about the flags that have the fringe on it, the gold fringe.
No. The wrinkled flags. Wrinkled flags over someone's tombstone or over someone's
Coffin?
Yeah, coffin. Thank you. Over someone's coffin means that they're a traitor.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard this.
You guys didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
So
News
look
to
at
me,
a military, like a military funeral, and if they have the flags over, or a political funeral, if they have the flags over the coffin, a wrinkled flag means that they were a traitor.
So I'm not in the military, but if they drape my coffin in a flag, it may be wrinkled because I'm a slob. So I just want to put that out there.
No, if you
we
were
don't
military,
iron anything in my house. So
no, I mean, if you were a military veteran and that flag is wrinkled, you would, I mean, your family should be complaining. But yeah, usually they are very, very, like, wrinkle free, unless you are a traitor, absolute traitor.
So before we get out of here, because now we've gone way far now, Samantha. We've gone really far, but that's okay. No, I love it. I love it. But we've got, just so everyone knows, if you're listening, you're watching from Coos County, we need volunteers for our sign-up booth for NVBM, and we're also going to have the IP31 vote before tolls. Both of those are going to be petitions that we have at the fair. If you want to volunteer, drop me a line, rob@robtaylorreport.com, and we can schedule you. I'll send you the link to the schedule. And you come on out. We'll get you signed up. Marty, what else am I forgetting? I think I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, well,
the Republican meeting. The
Republican meeting on
meetings.
Thursday. Yeah,
Yep.
so we can't schedule ourselves for Thursday evening because we have to walk down the block to the Cozy Cafe in Myrtle Point at 6:30 on Thursday for the Coos County Republican meeting. So, show up for eats and become a PCP or something.
and do some PCP.
Yeah, do some PCP at the Cozy Cafe.
God, that would be fun. That would make those meetings so much better if we were all on PCP.
Those meetings better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
totally.
doing the NVBM booth at the Coos County Fair. We're doing the booth all by ourselves because the Coos County Republican Central Committee said we don't want anything to do with this, and we just said screw you, we're going to do it anyway. So if you'd like to come hang out at the booth, we're doing the end vote by mail. We're doing the what was it? IP
31.
What is it? IP
Voter.
31.
Vote before tolling.
And then we're also going to be doing return to hand count stuff. So we're going to be showing how easy it is for people to do hand counting, so that we can get rid of machines and we can go back to one day in person ID mandatory precinct level hand counted voting, which is a big mouthful. But the whole point is the way it's working now is absolutely positively stupid. And and when somebody did an analysis earlier today, they said all the way from Abraham Lincoln until now, we've run a tally of Republicans versus Democrats, and all the way up until vote by mail came in, it was 79% of the victories were for Republicans, and only 21 were for Democrats. And after 2000, it's 100% Democrat and 0 Republican. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be completely blind not to see that vote by mail is bad, but you're going to have to get yourself a cane or something. So
I think that a hybrid ought to be used. I love the idea that the ballot just comes to me, but I never mail in my ballot because that's an easy way for it to get lost. I take it to a drop box. I think it'd be okay if we took it to a drop location and not mail it back. But the fact of the matter is this: is we have a really secure system. Well, it's not. That's not the problem. The problem is that we have all of these areas that are gerrymandered to the point where we can't.
Yeah, well, there's gerrymandering problems. There's chain of custody problems. There are issues with. There's absolutely no way to prove that the ballot you returned is the way it was counted. The way that you
the
intended.
Voter rolls. The voter rolls is the most important.
The voter rolls are completely corrupt.
They say it's going to take a lot of time to purge those. I can hit the delete button in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
There you go.
If you
Start all over. Yep.
Yeah, I can write a computer program to clean that stuff up in about 3 minutes. So
that's not an issue. So the issue is that nobody's doing that. And
That's
if they repopulate the system by saying, okay, it's January 1st, so December 31st, it all gets deleted at midnight. January 1st, go re-register to vote. Period.
I would have done it as a county clerk.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage that.
But who manages does the county clerk manage it, or does the state manage it? The state manages it.
Well, I would have.
Actually, the state doesn't manage it either, because the state has, so the Secretary of State has some input, but so does the DMV, and so does Eric, and so do all the NGOs that have complete read-write access to the voter rolls through Eric. So, the county clerks say, oh, we do everything. I'm going, you send out the postcards that say, hey, you changed your address, or hey, you registered to vote. But they don't do voter roll maintenance. I mean, they may send in changes, but they're not doing the whole thing.
Yeah, nobody's doing voter roll maintenance. That's for damn sure.
That's the issue. Is there's no voter roll maintenance. If they just, it just needs to be a repopulated thing. It used to be a thing where you would register to vote every year. Just go back to that, and it was probably half of our problems. The other half are, I think, perception issues. One of the things that would help is if they didn't have one vendor for stuff, and whatever you do not vote for ranked choice voting, because it centralizes the count at the state level.
Well, our votes aren't being counted as of right now, so I mean,
they're being counted, but there's no way to check it once ranked choice happens. It's completely opaque and centralized. Now you can at least go to your, you can go and look at the count on your county clerk website. You wouldn't be able
whoever the county clerk got bribed the most, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. But the funny thing was when that was going around, that ranked choice voting, you ask any Democrat who was supporting it or anyone who supported it, ask them to explain how ranked choice voting works. And I mean, I heard the wildest, wackiest shit coming from some of these people. I mean, it was like,
Right?
I'm sorry. It's so confusing. You explaining it, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Alaska did it, and they repealed it almost immediately because it did not work. Star voting, on the other hand, works wonderfully, and it's transparent. You can see your vote and how it panned out and everything. So, star voting would be perfect. Well,
What is it?
Star voting, score then automatic runoff. So you're gonna, instead of picking one over the other, you're gonna say, you know, this is me not paying attention for a long time. I support it 100%.
Is it a part of ranked choice voting? Or?
No.
Oh.
No.
What?
Ranked choice is you're ranking them against each other.
Yeah.
Score then
Right.
automatic runoff is you're scoring them as an individual. So if you have 5 people and you like 2 of them, you can give them both 5s.
Hmm.
Okay. And
I
then
just
what
like
happens?
the old-fashioned way. I just want to pick one guy and move on.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I don't want to pick those guys though. I want to be able to pick none of the above.
Well, and I usually
Well,
do
we-
that.
Yeah,
have
we
a
have.
lot of
Yeah,
data.
we have that choice.
But it doesn't get counted. I want it to be counted. I want everybody to be able to say, I don't like either
Well,
of
our
these.
votes aren't being
Or-
counted though right now. None of ours are really.
Well, they're being counted. It's just being skewed.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but if nobody else votes my way, then the fact that I voted for Chase Oliver doesn't matter in this state. See the problem? It's
No.
it doesn't matter who I vote for if there's an overwhelming vote for somebody else. What I want is an overwhelming vote for none of the above. I want to have all of the choices on the ballot and none of the above as a count. And if none of the above wins, all of those people are disqualified from the next.
Why even
election.
have an
I think we
Well,
tried
that's-
to do so. We tried
and
to
that's
do
what the
that
write-in-
somewhere in a state where we tried to put in none of the above as a category. I forget which state tried to do that, and they would count the none of the above as an actual category. And if the none of the above won, there would be no one in that office. Isn't that what you're saying, right?
Yeah, well, what I'm
Until they
saying
run
is
another election, we have 4 elections every year in Oregon. I don't know if you know
Right.
this. There are 4 election seasons, one every quarter. They just a new batch of people runs for the same stuff at the next time. If those people who didn't make it in don't make it in, they just don't run again. Simple as that. Just you can't run for another year. Well, now there's 4 opportunities for you to win. For somebody to fill that spot every year. Why are we having it's not a special election, it's literally just another election cycle. We have one at the end of there's one supposed to be in like February or March or something like that, one at the end of May, one in middle August somewhere, and one in November.
So if nobody won, would the person in office that's been there for 45 to 50 years
No.
still be in office?
No, there'd be no one in office.
There'd be no one in office until someone was elected. And
So
if
you
nobody
run the next
got it,
We need
that
a
means you
special
don't need
election?
it.
Actually, if no one won, that would prove that we really don't need them. I mean, didn't Biden's presidency really prove we don't need a president? I mean, the guy was brainless for 4 years, and I mean, he literally proved we don't need a fucking president because he didn't.
Apparently, all we need is an auto pen.
yeah, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Biden wasn't running the show. Obama wasn't running the show. It's just they put him up there. He was a great puppet figurehead to do it exactly what he was told to do. He was making billions on the side. He didn't care. And when he became non-compos mentis, that's even better. All they had to do is push him around, And it's just like it's sort of like the Gary Anderson things where it's like animatronics or marionettes or something where
I have a theory about that and Kamala Harris. I think that they were going to try to get him in for second term.
Yeah.
Then let him go for about 2 years, and then remove him under the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
And let Kamala take over, and then she could have a full 10 years because she can serve 2 years of somebody else's, and then 2 terms, which is
Two
another
terms.
8 years. I think
Right.
that's what we were planning on doing, and I think it backfired badly because he could keep up the facade.
Yeah.
The debate
And
what killed
yeah,
that.
plus the fact
I
that she
think you're
pulled
right
so
on that.
well. Yeah, and plus the fact that she pulled so well that was like, she dropped out of the presidential, the Democratic presidential primaries because she only got 1% of the people, and I'm like,
Right.
yeah,
They
and
could,
then they
Marty,
had
they
another
could put a
primary.
pork chop around her neck and they couldn't get the dog to play with her. That's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
toxic this woman is.
Exactly. Well, to be honest, you guys, she actually didn't qualify to be president. That's
Well,
going to probably come up later.
yeah,
So,
birthright citizenship. So yeah, because
uh-huh.
her mother and father were university professors, one at Stanford, one at Berkeley when she was born. Neither of them, one was from India, one was from Jamaica, and neither of them were citizens at the time.
And she's a dual citizen of Jamaica and the United States. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, guys, I
I
think we've really have gone a far way on this.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're 3.5 hours into it.
We're 3.5 hours in, and I'll tell you what, it's been very interesting. Leon, you've added a lot of different insight that I don't know why people get so upset and call names. I mean, it's like if you disagree, disagree.
I love being called a liberal because I get called a conservative when I go talk to Republicans.
Oh,
And-
that's funny.
And I'm neither. I'm a libertarian. There are only two parties. You're either a libertarian or a statist. So you're a libertarian or authoritarian. If you are a libertarian, if you don't want your freedom, fine. But
I was a libertarian for 25 years, and I left the Libertarian Party to join the Republicans because of a primary that I wanted to vote in, and I was very upset with the Libertarians at the time, and I forget why. Voted for Harry Brown several times. I really liked Harry Brown when he was running. But and I worked for Gary Johnson. I was a governor's aide or a governor's advisor for Gary Johnson back in New Mexico. So I worked 25 years for the Libertarian Party, and I got to the point where I realized I don't like any of the freaking parties. I don't like the party I'm in, Republican, Libertarian. I don't want any parties. I think we should all run as individuals. That's just my take on it.
I think that was the original intent, and it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah. Wasn't it Groucho Marx that said I'd never belong to a club that would have me as a member? So I'm like going, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like any of these I don't like any of these parties, and I don't feel like joining any one of them because they all pretty much suck.
make it so that you don't have to have 25,000 signatures to run for governor and remove all access restrictions, and we can do that.
That's the thing.
Literally.
All the restrictions that keep individuals from being able to participate. And that's part of the reason I'm part of the Republicans now. And I hate it. I'm almost embarrassed half the time to tell people, oh, I'm a Republican. Yeah.
Yeah, I was NPP in California for 20 years before moving back to Bandon. So it was like, and that's no party preference. It's like similar to what NAV is here in Oregon. So it's just like,
and actually,
thanks.
When I was a NAV, that was the only time that I ever registered that I actually felt that I was in the right position. I'm a non-affiliated. I don't want to be affiliated with any of them. You know what I mean? And it's like, I like this. I like the term even, non-affiliated. I'm just non-affiliated. And I think that's so wrong. I think we need to get rid of the party system.
I like the position so much better because when I'm a NAV, every other party is bend over, no grease, and that's just a bad position. So there we go. That's the ending joke for the day. Thank you very much. Don't forget to tip your waiters and waitresses. I'm out.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. You want to say anything quick before we get out of here, Samantha?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I Roger Shipman from the Constitution Party. I actually promised him that if I ran again for anything, for county clerk, anything nonpartisan, I promised him that I would join the Constitution Party because, I know that there is infighting within the Constitution Party as well, but it's not like I can get anywhere with the Republicans. I can't.
Well, I will tell you that the Coos County Matt Rao is starting the Libertarian chapter up here, and the last time we had a Libertarian chapter, I was the chair. and that was probably 12 years ago. Yeah, I was the chair of the Coos County Libertarian Party for several years. I actually ran against Wayne Krager. I set a national record for getting 26% of the vote for a state legislature. And they called me up, the leaders called me up of the Libertarian Party, and they said, Rob, what the hell did you do? And I said, oh, it was easy. I stayed at home and I kept my mouth shut. And that pretty much worked.
That's awesome, though. Well, good. I'm actually gearing more towards the third party rather than the two big ones, because you just don't get anywhere with them. They're just so. A lot of them are.
They have big Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Leon,
I was a non-affiliated voter until I went with the idea that I was going to stay a non-affiliated voter, and then the Libertarian Party popped up when Spike Cohen came in the area, and I'm like, I went from non-affiliated and kind of apolitical to libertarian and running for governor in like 3 weeks.
That's cool, though.
It was
one of the coolest people I met in the Libertarian Party, Leon, was Tony Nathan. She was the vice presidential candidate. That she was the only woman who got an electoral college vote for vice president back in 1972 when the Libertarian Party started. And she lived in Eugene. And I called her up one day and said, Tony, I want to get you out here to Coos County. And then we got to be good friends. And when the Libertarians, we were having all that fighting with, it was Richard Burke and a whole bunch of other people. It was horrible. And I took Tony up there to Gresham, I think was where the office was. They actually had an office. And they were blown away when I walked in with Tony Nathan. It was like they were all arguing, yelling, and screaming. It was like, the godmother of the Libertarian Party. What are you going to do?
Well, you'll be happy to know Richard Burke is on the board.
Yeah, I have no problem with Richard Burke.
It's if you're interested, go to the Wikipedia page on the Libertarian Party of Oregon. There was a rift. I came in well after the end of after the rift. Burke said it was going to be done. It's not really done.
No.
Already expressed that. And I'm not. I would rather be a candidate than a board officer because the bylaws are a little broken. You can't speak your mind when you're a board officer for the Libertarian Party of Oregon. So until that's fixed, I'm not interested in. I have no interest in running the organization anyway, but I'm definitely not interested if I can't speak up for myself.
That's interesting.
In terms. So the Libertarian Party of Oregon has to have, right now as a public policy board. It's kind of weird. There's also some other issues that I don't even know how to explain them, but little tweaks. The law of unintended consequences is just like Murphy's Law, and it's in full effect anytime you touch anything. So there was a good example that I'm not sure that got passed. They read what's his face wanted to change all of the wording from militia to military, but he didn't look at the law of unintended consequences, which would have put militias back in vogue in Oregon. So anyway.
Would have put militia. It would have put militias.
You're talking about the Manning bill.
I don't know which one it was. He wanted to change the wording from militia to military.
Right.
The problem is that the definition of militia is not defined by the people in Oregon. It's defined by a totally different, situation.
Definition for it.
Right.
And you can't just change the definition of a militia into the military because militia and the military aren't the same thing. They're definitively so different. But Oregon has
oppositions. You know what I mean? It's
Oregon has a codified.
We have a codified militia, is what he was going to say. I bet.
Or am I breaking up again?
Yeah.
So you were saying we had a codified militias, I think what you were going to say.
It's a codified militia. By changing the word militia to military and all of that stuff, it would have made it so that all the codified stuff that prevents us from being militias goes away. And he didn't.
Went away.
Prozansky didn't understand that. I don't know if that passed or what happened with it because I wasn't paying attention. But I was just like, no, shut up. Just let it happen because it'll fix something. And you guys aren't paying attention to what it'll fix.
So here's some research that I wouldn't mind you guys doing and reaching out to me to see if you can figure this out. I teach the Oregon Constitution, and there is an Article 10, Section 6 that was done in, I believe, 1960, and it's a continuation of government, and it's in the militia section, Article 10. And it was completely abolished by 1978. And I cannot find exactly what that said. I really want to know. And it's in the militia section, Article 10.
Well, the AI from Google says that it was about having specific religious tenets or conscientious scruples to forbid them from bearing arms.
I like how they put conscientious scruples because I have some very conscientious decisions.
What? Say that again, Leon?
It had to. So conscientious. It's the same thing that conscientious objector would be.
Yeah. No. Article 10, Section 6.
Right. I'm looking at what the AI has saying. It's.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think there is a conscientious part of that. I think that's Section 2 of Article 10. But
it said you can't force somebody to carry arms, to bear arms.
That's Section 2, yeah. Article 10, Section 2. But Article 10, there was a Section 6.
And it's gone?
And that's it was supposed to be continuation of government.
Well, we'll have to look that up. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. It's been a blast. I had a really good time. And yeah, Marty, I like it. You're going to get a motion violation. And, but that's okay. I want to thank you all for joining me. We'll get you guys back on some other time because this was a really interesting conversation. I enjoy our Friday nights. I just need to drink a little more. That's the problem. I think I need to drink a little bit more on Friday nights. That's it. There you go. There you go. Well, hey, I want to thank you. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Leon and Marty. I appreciate it. And let me get some music to get us out of here. Put us in the mood. The music mood. There we go. There we go.
We're not leaving the show with some Rush? Yeah, let's go.
We're not leaving with some Rush. No, I played those damn trannies dancing to I forget which song in Salem, and they cut my video out on YouTube because I violated some copyright laws and shit. And I'm thinking, I didn't do that. The trannies did.
They did, yeah. They totally did.
All I was doing was recording.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Well, you all have a good time, and until next time, you know what I always say? Carry on, Coos County.
Carry on.
Carry on. You all have a good one, man.
You too.
All right, take care.
Bye, guys.